Step right up, spin the wheel, see what's next. Sneaky questions flying fast. No one knows which topic will last. One-on-one or chaos in the room. Every spin brings a brand new boom. Wheel of madness, let it roll. Twist and turn, take control. Mind on fire, sparks ignite. Every debate's a crazy fight. Who's ready? Who's brave? The wheel decides what you'll face. Strap in! Here it comes! Welcome to the Wheel of
What's the crack? It's your boy Terry Yak back at it again, ladies and gentlemen, for another round of the Wheel of Madness, baby. Like I said, basically, like the kick the show off. Essentially, there are a list of special moves that you can use for the Wheel of Madness. So we have a wheel. Okay, the wheel will generate prompts. If you wish to spin the wheel, it is $10. So just to give you a little sneak peek, this is the wheel. It'll present topics, and if you want to move on to the next topic, it is $10. We are starting on, I think religion is the topic we're starting. Oh no, we're starting on politics today, ladies and gentlemen. So if you want to change the theme out, so that's the change wheel option, which is $25. We're currently on politics, but perhaps you want something more along the lines of pop culture or dating or maybe religion or philosophy. It is solely up to you, chat. If you want to change out the theme, it is $25. And if there's a prompt that you particularly like that you want to see us, what would be the expression, to get as much meat from the bone on, then you can spend $50 to lock the prompt in place. Also, just to remind us all, standard moves as well. We got $5 for the meme clip. And you might be saying, Teriyak, what's a meme clip?
I don't know what you heard, but this show ain't free.
That is an example of the meme clips. I don't know if you know, chat, this show ain't free. This is fan funded. Also, if you want a specific topic, you want to bypass the spinning of the wheel, it is $20. And if you also want me to read out song lyrics, perhaps in maybe a funny accent, it is also $20. And folks, if you want to drop or return a panelist, including myself, it is $5 for 5 minutes minimum. And then if you just want to straight up kick a panelist, you don't like the look of someone, you can kick them for $100. They can come back to get a 24-hour ban. But obviously, being the host, I'm immune to such thing. And lastly, but most importantly, not leastly, it is 50% more if you use the PayPal or Ko-Fi, right? I don't know if you know, chat, but YouTube are thieving bastards, right? They take 30% of all the super chats, the memberships, the super stickers, all this kind of stuff. YouTube takes 30% of that. So if you don't want to give YouTube 30% of your money, use the PayPal or Ko-Fi, and you get 50% extra for doing so. They're at the top of the screen. There also should be linked in the chat as well. Like I said, just to give you a quick example, if you were to say if you were to send $20 on the super chat, you would get 2 spins. But if you were to send that same $20 using the Ko-Fi or PayPal, and to be 100%, which the Ko-Fi is very easy to use, ladies and gentlemen. We can we have Jack can fill you in, and basically just go to the link, and it's as easy as buying something online, essentially. Basically, you'd get an extra 50%. So for that same 20, you'd get 3 spins rather than 2. So I highly suggest use the PayPal or Ko-Fi links, because you're basically getting more bang for your buck. You're getting 50% extra value for your money. So I'd highly suggest or recommend you use those links, ladies and gentlemen. But let me just make sure the goal is set as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have the goal there too. And also a new thing we were thinking about was the fact that if we do gifted membership, so we do 5 gifted membership, that will also prevent the grift break or end the current grift break. Other than that, I think we're ready. I think we're just about ready to start the motherfucking show.
Let's start the show. Let's start the show. Let's start the show. Let's start the show. Let's start the show. Let's start the show. Man, we got a damn good show for y'all today, man. Damn good show. I think this is going to be one of the best. We got one hell of a show for y'all today, man. Got a good show. We got a good show for y'all today, man. We got a damn good show. Man, we got a damn good show for y'all, man. Good show. We got a damn good show for y'all today, man. We got a damn good show. A damn good show.
A damn good show. So without further ado, let me spin this motherfucking wheel.
Spin it! Spin it! Woo!
And introduce our guest afterwards. So gentlemen, the first prompt of the night is: should universal basic income be implemented? And without further ado, folks, let me introduce our gay rights activist backstage.
We bring in the studio this morning one of the gay rights activists, Mr. Should I call you Mr.?
Welcome to the show, Mr. Half-Out Gaming, Mr. Darth Evans, and Mr. RK Mangoes.
It's arc to you, Buster.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's up, everyone?
So, what are your thoughts on UBI?
Well, if the leprechauns weren't so greedy, maybe we wouldn't need that. They have all the gold. They need to share their gold.
That basically mean like everyone gets paid the same, right?
Assuming it sounds like communism, doesn't it?
I was about to say that smells a little communist.
Well, at some point, there's going to need to be a system that is going to find a way to give people a way of life, because when AI takes over, there's no way the job market is going to be able to replace those jobs taken over by AI.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to have to, like, I personally think that at some point capitalism is going to be obsolete because of that right then and there.
But is the logical conclusion of capitalism taken to its utmost extreme, is that not like utopia? Is that not the communist utopia that everybody talks about?
Maybe if AI wasn't generating art.
What I mean is that because AI and robots are so efficient, and like the work is so efficient, that you basically reduce the price down of the product so much so that it's basically like 1 cent for a ribeye steak, essentially. You know
Well, I don't see like the income being implemented like universally, where it's like a set income no matter what job you work. I see it more being like they'll do away with physical currency, and then there'll just be credits. Like your bank account will have credits, and it'll be based off of the amount of time you put in to do something. So you could be at home and it'd be like, hey, can you do this for me for like 100 credits? And then you'll just get online and you'll do something for somebody, and then they pay you 100 credits. Or you'd be on on the streets and someone asks you to like move some furniture for them. You go in their house, you move some furniture, and they give you 1,000 credits for it, like something like that.
That's a slippery slope a little bit, though, isn't it?
That would be the future, though, if you really think about it. Like physical currency would eventually die out, and then everything would just be digital currency.
Yeah, I would say we're pretty much already there, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we are. It's just they got to kill away physical currency, which is a little hard to do because there's a lot of people that rely on the physical attributes of currency. Like, there's still, like, in order for it to work, you would have to even stop it in third world countries, and that's impossible because they rely heavily on their low currency, because the U.S. dollar, if they get a hold of a U.S. dollar in their country, that's hundreds of dollars to them.
Yeah, but if there's physical currency, though, doesn't that kind of safeguard against control in a way?
In a sense, but I can see where, like, at a global scale, where government would want to get complete control that way, but use it slowly. I mean, like you said, they're already pretty much doing it by giving people credit cards, bank accounts, and making it digital in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit! What did I miss?
I will preface
Hello?
also, I'm extremely tired because I was up until 10 in the morning.
You slacker!
Teriyaki.
You're
last
fucking
night.
slacking.
I take no responsibility for the loss of sleep during these
Nah.
shows, gentlemen.
I was willing.
You should, Teriyaki.
Hey, just because
Should be ashamed of
I'm
yourself.
entertaining and adorable, that ain't a strike on me, ladies and gentlemen. Come on, guys.
Adorable? Who says you're adorable?
Bro, look at this. Look at this avatar. Look at Pepe. Is that not adorable, ladies and gentlemen? Look at those shoes. Look at that dicky bow. You know what I mean? That shit is adorable.
It looks like I got some good DSLs, man. Oh, fuck yeah.
Hey, you leave my DSLs out of this. I don't even know what DSLs are, but my eyes are up here.
Are you? Well, your eyes can be everywhere. Like my eyes are down looking at your shoes, leprechaun man. God. Golden buckles, black leather shoes. It drives my crank real good.
Abdul,
Yeah, get the rocks.
get the rocks.
Get
Tom's
the rocks, baby.
noise.
Get the rocks.
Okay, so I was saying that I think that someday capitalism is going to be obsolete, and I think that it's not going to be like universal base income, but there's going to be like a ration system, like instead of you getting money to buy food, for an example, they're going to give you like this is just an example, you guys, like in, rough draft of an idea. They'll give you, like, let's say they'll ration you 20 pounds of food a week, you know what I mean? And that's your limit, and if you want more, then you're going to have to buy more, you know what I mean? Does that make any sense? I think that maybe something of the lines of that, we're heading in that direction, like, let's say 30 years from now.
When you said that, I completely thought of the movie Timeless, where they have like the number, like the amount of time on their arms and stuff like that, and they have to use the time to buy
Soylent
stuff.
Green. It made me think of Soylent Green for sure. Like, we're gonna end up eating people.
I don't think we'll ever go to like eating people, other than, like, if you're in a, like, let's say a Stalingrad type situation, or mass famine. But when like a body of economics is intact, there's going to be no need for that. There's going to have to be, and this is one thing, this is my ire about the left. They're worried about identity politics, and this is right here a really good argument that we can really brainstorm on, because the left is like supposed to be compassionate for the smaller guy, but they don't want to really ask the question, is that when AI starts taking over and improves to the point that they can actually be more marketable in the economy and the workforce, how are those people being replaced by AI is going to find a new job? How are they going to make how's the standard of living is going to increase when the value of jobs is going to decrease? This is like a very serious problem that our kids and grandchildren are going to have to deal with, and we're just doing fuck all to, the conservatives to a point are already brainstorming on this, but the hardcore hardliners, right wingers, can be like, oh, that's communism. I don't want to, communism. Nah, they'll throw the baby out the bathwater. But it's like that's a real future that we're heading into because of AI and automation. Look at America for an example, with the manufacturing business. It replaced a lot of people, in factories. And where do those people go? You know, they had to take smaller, menier jobs, you know, that was meant for high schoolers, you know, and, you know, that's just an
They're doing it-
example of,
doing it in retail as well, and like fast food and all that.
yeah,
I
like
would
those kiosks, yeah.
clarify-
Well, not even fast food, bro. Like even chain restaurants like Chili's, they'll have like a robot waiter. They'll have a tablet, and all you just do is just push the screen of what you want, and the server would a server or robot, depending what this restaurant has, will just bring it to you. And you know, or Walmart, you know, like what they do, and it's just, you know, I don't like the direction it's heading, you know, because of that. Because we're already seeing a decrease of the workforce with people in the last 20 years. And it's just going to keep going up.
That. Can I ask a clarifier? Is universal basic income dependent on AI?
Not necessarily, no. Like there was calls for UBI before AI developments and all this kind of stuff.
I see it with AI, but I think absent AI, I think it's hard to make an argument for universal basic income. At least in America, we have all this welfare that, like, you just see. I mean, kind of like I was saying, you go to a Wendy's or you go to McDonald's, it's not what it was 10 years ago, even. Like, you have to order yourself. Some person that can't even pronounce your name because they can't read yells your order across an entire restaurant. You have to go get it. Does that make sense?
Like the main idea behind universal basic income is that we should be redistributing the tax so that like we can give everybody like a minimum wage that they could potentially survive off, and then from that we have some sort of a what would you call, you basically have some sort of a system where like people are only working because they're particularly passionate about that, and you don't necessarily have to work. You know what I mean? And just real quick to give Easy a shout out for the raid. Welcome in Easy, welcome in the Bears, welcome in the Raiders. And obviously Easy gets his own clip for the raid.
Well, hang on, stop. Let's start with this. What are the 3 laws of logic? What are they? No, don't look them up. What are the 3 laws of logic?
Do you think this is an inconclusive
What are the
mathematical
3
statement?
laws of logic? There's 3. What are they?
I don't fucking know.
You don't know the fucking laws of logic, dude.
All right.
No, all right, dude. I don't know where. You don't even know the 3 laws of logic. This is fucking crazy. You're fucking crazy.
Do you want to ask Speakeasy if he knows?
Yeah, it's the law of identity, the law of non-contradiction, and the law of the excluded middle.
His name is John C.
Anything else, dipshit?
Absolute mic drop from our boy Easy there. That's how you get her done, boys. And now that we know the 3 laws of logic, we should be able to make logical arguments. Also, shout out from Mike with the $5 says, Easy raid. Also, what's wrong with universal complicated income? Very interesting, very interesting. So let me play the money clip from that as well. Also, shout out to Jack of Blades for the $10 on the Ko-Fi as well. Thank you very kindly, sir. And we have a guest backstage. Let me introduce him.
We bring in the studio this morning one of the gay rights activists, Mr. Should I call you Mr.?
Mr. Are You Crazy? Welcome to the show.
Hello, Terry.
Not this asshole.
Yeah, you prick.
Dude.
Oh, my bad. I slipped. I'm getting old. Fuck you. I'm back. I'll stop.
So what are your thoughts on UBI?
Already dropped the F-bomb on you. Damn it.
It's okay. It's okay.
Well, no, it's not okay. I got to quit doing that. Anyway, I'm back.
Yeah, universal basic income.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I think it's going to happen. I really do.
And do you think it's going to be a good thing or a bad thing?
For a whole lot of people that don't make a whole lot of money right now, it's going to be a really good thing. For the rest, I really don't know, Terry. If that makes sense. I don't know what it's going to do. I think it's going to happen, though.
The same problem that we have with the welfare state.
It's going to be, yeah, kind of. I mean, who's going to pay? Who's actually going to send the money out? If you know what I mean. When you don't get it, what are you going to do if it happens? If you don't get it, we all know how the government, how good they are at doing shit.
Well,
they're so perfect.
Believe it or not, we have a gay rights activist backstage to give us his professional opinion on
We
this.
bring in the studio this morning one of the gay rights activists, Mr. Should I call you Mr.?
Mr. Pseudomaster, welcome to the show.
Oh shit! This fucking asshole.
Fuck you.
Everybody's a fucking asshole to you.
I said I was
It's
going
only
to
been
sleep.
12 hours.
I said I was going to sleep, and I guess I'm not. So
sometimes you just can't, right?
Hush, little baby, don't say a word. Daddy's gonna buy you a mockingbird.
You can't sing.
that ain't working. That ain't
POS.
working. Universal
I can train.
basic income, I think, is a bad idea. I think it'll be just like the friggin' scandemic. It'll be like small businesses won't be able to hire anybody because they're basically in competition with the federal government. You know, I don't know. I just think it leads to more laziness. You're causing people to sell themselves short.
Yeah, I think if shit, I lost my train. But we have to have working class people, and I'm one of them. Trust me, to buy stuff. These companies can make and do all this stuff, but if there's nobody to buy it, there's a problem. So if AI takes all these jobs away and it's massive, massive unemployment, who's going to buy anything? So we don't need the companies anymore. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
That's why I asked the clarifier on if this is contingent with AI.
It's like cutting your nose off to spite your face, though. You know, I think the whole AI. I hope I'm right about this. Like they say 25% of the jobs lost are because of AI. I hope it kind of just works its way out. I really hope it does. But I mean, AI isn't building walls. AI is not digging ditches, pouring concrete. You know, there's a lot of stuff AI can't do.
The trades will always be needed. You know, always.
The McDonald's people, minimum wage job people, those people are really going to be. I think they could easily be replaced. You'll have robots flipping them horse burgers.
I'd prefer that. I would like my Baconator cooked correctly and on time.
That's basically
I think AI should be involved in.
I used to like Wendy's burgers. And I don't know.
Oh, Wendy's, yeah.
I get the chicken now.
They changed the hamburger?
What's that?
You think they changed the hamburger?
Yeah, I don't know. Something about. But then again, I buy a half pound every year, and I make my own. So like,
oh, okay,
it ruined me for burgers. Like if I go out and I see it's like $18 for fries and a burger, I'm not getting it. Like you know,
I won't either. Yeah,
it ain't worth it. Like I get this
people in, right?
What's that?
They can't get workers that actually want to like make an honest living. Like I see it on a daily basis.
No one's going to work for minimum wage.
Well, the problem
no one wants to work for minimum wage.
Agreed.
No one wants to work for minimum wage, but it's like minimum wage was like it turned it into this thing like, oh, it's not a living wage. It was never supposed to be. It was like your first job as a high school kid or a job to like fill in or for like older, tired people that wanted like a little extra boost, or for mentally challenged people. Like, you know, you got your cart roundup people in the Walmart parking lot. I think the minimum wage, if anything, drove wages down. Besides
It did.
crazy
100%.
immigration, you know, you got people willing to work for less money, and I hate that argument that, oh, you know, we have jobs that Americans don't want to do. It's like, no, they just want a decent wage to do it if it's really hard work, you know. Like I wouldn't be doing construction unless any other way besides union, unless I own my own business. And I got a lot of problems with unions. My dues go to Democrats. Then they call me over the phone. They send me bullshit in the mail, tell me who to vote with, you know, who I got to vote for. Oh, Trump's going to, you know, Trump said the first thing he's going to do is going to cut our pension. It's like, where the fuck did you hear that? He did not say that, and he doesn't have the power to do that, first of all. It's just so stupid. It's like you're already taking my monthly dues that I pay to you through my local and the dues that comes out of my check, and I know you're giving a bunch of that to Democrats. You know what? Whatever. You want to do that? That's fine. Just cash my dues check and shut the fuck up. Don't be calling me up on the phone telling me I got to vote for Kamala Harris.
Thankfully, we do have a gay rights activist to give you the counter
We
opinion.
bring in the studio this morning one of the gay rights activists, Mr. Should I call you Mr.?
Mr. Trench, welcome to the show.
It's been a while. I forgot about that one. Good burn.
Oh,
good burn.
Trench, welcome back, dude.
I was hoping you would come on. I was listening to the Andrew debate and came with the raid.
I had to go relieve myself in the little boys' room, so
nasty motherfucker.
I missed out on the closing. No, but
yeah, he was releasing all right.
This is a fun game. Oh, there's nobody releasing nothing but hope, hopes and dreams. I hope you found the clout you were searching for.
I think everybody should get free money, free rainbows, and free unicorns. You know,
I'm just tired of these people arguing from a centrist position. Like, and you'll notice it in big panels. They'll like argue from your side. They'll start the argument there, and then next thing you know,
oh, I was just joking.
Talk about full-on communism.
Yeah, I was just joking. Like I just think it's a bad idea. I think we already got enough problems with the welfare system being abused. When you got people that do need it, but like I think Ted Cruz is one of the biggest douchebags. But he did say something really great. It was a great analogy. He said, welfare is supposed to be a trampoline, and we turned it into a hammock. I think that sums it up really well, you know?
That's a good one.
I'm still at the place with, like, my whole life I voted for both parties before I became, like, the farthest right-wing thing I've ever could have imagined. So I understand the arguments, but it's just like, there's nothing that would keep me from continuing to vote right at this point in time. Absolutely nothing. Am I shocked of the Israel situation and the Iran situation? Of course not. It's 20 years to the clock since the last time, since the 20 years before that, since the 20 years before that.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
William says he don't care. He wants to spin that wheel.
Please.
Gentlemen, should governments control what people say online?
Ooh.
Fuck no. No.
No. Not online.
No.
Not at all.
Nope.
Only if you go against the global order of things.
Unless the only extent I could say, unless like you're saying, hey, everybody, we're gonna meet at this place and we're gonna shoot up a bunch of people or something like that. The crowd, the yelling fire in a crowded theater type of thing. You know what I mean? That's
technically not against the law.
What the government should. They should censor at least a little bit.
Well, if you're inciting violence, of course.
I'd say it depends on what your culture is like. If you have a high trust culture and civilization, yeah, you could probably get away with a whole range of free speech. But when there's no trust and low trust. I don't know. I still think you should have free speech, though, even if it means if the truth shall kill them, let them die.
Yeah, and also depends on the context of like you got to be very careful with that language, because there is times where the government doesn't serve the people, and that's when the people should take arms against the government, because we've done that. That's how America became America, through that, because we ran a rebellion against the parliamentary of England to get our independence. And that's where you got to be very careful with that, because if you're just going to say like, yeah, then you got some nut jobs, like let's say the left is going to like trying to justify that, say like, even though you said it, but because it's not what you want or had envisioned, you're just being a hypocrite. Like you got to be very careful and wise of what you're saying and dealing with that. But in a particular case, like during 2020, the Biden administration ordered the FBI to direct Facebook to censor people, and that's no.
They sent feds. They sent feds to my house, bro. They like fucking my wife, and they sent a fucking cute blonde chick, and like my wife's not
They honeypotted you.
Yeah, dude. It was awful.
Yeah.
Speaking of that,
They sent a
but to be fair,
I'm in Appalachians too, and I know your wife is.
To be fair, though, she wasn't mad about like the whole whatever was going on with feds and shit, which was bullshit at the end of the day, and actual applied totalitarianism. But she was more concerned about like some blonde bitch on the fucking front porch and gang. That's awesome.
Yeah, so she wasn't pissed off about like the shit you were saying. She was pissed off that you were trying to chat up the police officer.
No, I wasn't even there when this all went down.
Wait, what?
I mean, like, there's a whole life that happens, and you're not always home when federal agents show up to fucking drag you through the coals. Which makes it even weirder, because then you're not there to like explain, like it's just some pictures of some green frogs and yellow dogs saying fucked up shit and keck and stuff, and then it's like, nah. But I was in a lot of people like the traditional Catholics, parents that showed up to PTA meetings, and that's probably also another thing that happened, because we did go to some PTA meetings when some reading material was found in the library that was pornographic in nature, and like,
yeah,
I'm like,
Fool this man!
Trench, what the fuck has this got to do with government censorship?
Not a fucking thing. Nothing.
Are you serious right now?
No, actually, it does, because it's called coercion. You're coercing someone not to speak against the government's policy. That's coercion. That's actually a government-controlled, compelled speech right there. Yes, it does. It is very relevant to this topic. Because that was happening a lot during the Biden administration. Remember that one chick up in New England? Her name, Nicole Solis or something, where she was speaking out against basically gay porn and children's books, and she got at the Fed Center. No, Trench is right about that. It is very relevant to the topic.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Jimmy?
Should governments control what people say online?
That's what it was all.
Do you think? All right, here's a better question. I mean, here's a better rhetorical.
Elon Musk bought fucking X or whatever the fuck it's
called. Here's a better rhetorical. Sorry, Trench. Here's a better rhetorical. Do you think England is on the right track of having government censorship?
Oh,
maybe.
You think the English model is perfect for that?
You got to consider his geolocation.
Who?
The host of
yeah. Yeah, you're right. Trench.
Shout out to Crazy for the $2.
Yeah.
It's fucked, man.
I believe.
I'm sorry.
Even though I think Mill is a fucking degenerate, I think Mill's onto something where free speech should be up until the point where you excite violence. It's not you And if you can't say these things, not only do you not have a free society, but you have no vehicle in which you can turn around a corrupt society.
Let me ask you something. You think there's? Let me ask you guys something. You think there could ever be a point? Like, I think it would take so much for the way people are these days, even though the insane amount of weapons people have out there in the United States, I'm talking about, that they would ever actually consider taking up arms against the government.
Oh no, it's not about the dude. We got all them sticks. We strapped up. We're not waiting for that, and I think that's also a reflection of the Christian society we live in. If Christians,
you'd have to mention for well over 300 million guns, if not more, and then there are also civilians that used to be military background that are in Texas that are allowed to own tanks.
I mean, just simply put, getting through all the bullshit into the bottom layer of the equation is Christians have all the guns and they're the ones making the babies. So where are the real power plays?
The guy that's running NASA had his own private Air Force. Did you know that?
Say who? What?
The guy that's over NASA right now had his own private Air Force. He helped train the military pilots.
The guy that's over NASA.
Oh, it was interesting. Yeah.
What, Trump?
No. He's talking about a person who is a big figure. Like, there's people out there that can own their own fucking army.
Yeah,
though.
that's what I was getting at.
Contract mercenaries.
So, like, the Nietzschean thing, like, I don't believe in Uber. I don't believe in Ubermenschen and Undermenschen. Like, if I was to believe in Nietzsche's philosophy of like Ubermenschen and Undermenschen, and then that middle tier, like the Uber something mention. I don't speak German. I'm not gonna pretend to, but basically means like the lesser known elite. The guys that made $50,000 a year and developed the
Pareto distribution, the Illuminati.
No, none of that.
What the?
The dudes
Can we get a spin?
The dudes that created the internet, and they did it for $50,000 a year, when that was like middle management, upper management pay. It's not executive pay. Those are the guys that fucking like push history, because those are the same guys that developed the nuke. Those are the same guys that developed the fucking satellites that carry all the Garmin shit to keep us communing in real time right now.
That was DARPA.
And you don't hear about DARPA because they're just
They've done more things than can't list them all.
No, it's not none of that. That's not what Nietzsche's saying, and that's not what the observation is pointing out. It's pointing out these guys are you. They're Joe fucking ordinary. The $50,000 guys, the guys that lived
they do all the work.
The guys that lived in the suburbs with the white picket fence, everything was going good for them, and then they made their money, they lived a happy life, had a bunch of kids, and died in obscurity.
Yep.
Huh. Okay.
So
what's it called again?
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for them.
And what's wrong with that?
Boys.
No, that's
what most people do.
In Nietzsche, there's two different Ubermenschen. There's the Ubermenschen that you hear of, the mustache men, the fucking Kim Jong-un.
What are you talking about?
The Donald Trumps, the Elon Musks, the Gutenbergs, the fucking Da Vinci's, the Ubermenschen. You don't hear about the guy that fucking dragged the Gutenberg press from fucking Germany to Wessex, or from fucking Berlin to Wessex. Because
if we heard about all these people, that's all we would. Nothing else. You would know nothing else except all these people.
You only hear about Paul Revere. You don't hear about the whole network surrounding him.
Okay.
And that's why Make America Great Again is beyond Donald Trump. It's beyond Candace Owens.
Holy
it's beyond any of these people. It's beyond beyond Andrew. It's beyond Jay.
Does that say the government should control what we say? Is that what you mean? I don't.
I'm saying there is free will. there is
Oh, I'm gonna scream at him.
Yo, what the fuck is going on right now?
I'm getting ready to cuss
What are
him.
we talking about?
It's like we're talking about Nietzsche. And then we're like,
What does Nietzsche have to do with the government?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a differentiation?
No. What? No, just hold on a second. I actually understand what Trench is trying to get at here. What he's saying, what the reason why he's using Nietzsche is he's using it to describe a philosophy that correlates to what we're talking about. That's what he's trying to get at.
the Ubermenschen, the Donald Trumps, the playmakers, the power ballers.
Yeah, there's more behind the scene, basically, is what he's saying. This is just, no, I see what Trench is saying, and this is just like,
the world isn't run by secret handshakes and back rooms. It's ran by the institution where that back room fucking happened. And in that institution, there's Joe Smith, you and me.
Okay.
Just remind yourself.
What that got to do with the government controlling what I say?
I don't think we are in a safe place if we can't talk about the faults of government, because inevitably that's what all censorship becomes.
Why didn't you say that to start with?
Because we had to get through the I hate pathos at the end of the day. I really do. That's why I don't like making pathological arguments, but they blend into logos because there's a logical reason why people have emotions.
I agree with Trench. Dude, I understood what you're saying from jump.
There can be manipulation. There can be.
Honestly, don't you step on dude's balls? Who the fuck are you to say anything?
What the fuck are you saying? Because, like, I don't understand a single thing Trench is saying. And then Mango's like, I agree exactly what Trench is saying. And then whatever Mango says, it's completely different to what fucking Trench was saying.
No, he's catching what it just happens to me all the time. It's like,
dude, I'm fucking autistic. I catch
this is what I was telling you earlier, Trench. What the?
My Asperger's.
He's like, I know exactly what he's saying.
Hey, Trench. Shut the fuck up, everybody. Hey, Trench, autism unite. Okay, that's all we got to say, bro. I
From
get you, man.
Nurses, these to moms, dads, and caregivers, they have all put their trust in Tylenol.
Please be patient. Our moms took Tylenol.
I'll tell you what, I'm worried if this shit hits the fan because they took all my guns. I had to give up all my guns. And I was innocent.
It's because you crashed out, or you gave the illusion of crashing out, one or the other.
What's that?
I said you either crashed out, or you gave the illusion of crashing out. I almost made that mistake once. I ended up in the 10th floor of VA hospital for a little bit. But,
somebody stole from me. Somebody stole from me, and that's why they took my guns. And people lied for them. And I didn't think I needed a lawyer. I got the public defender. He charged me with terroristic threats.
I mean, but the way the story's going.
Shut up, bitch!
William says, "Shut the fuck up and spin that wheel."
Y'all a bunch of assholes.
So
Gentlemen,
many questions.
Should we abolish the European Union, or if you're American, should we abolish the federal government?
I got cooked on this one the other night.
We already went on this. Oh man.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so. I take the no.
Me too.
Abolish is way too extreme for me. I'll call for a reformation, not abolishment.
Yeah, we have to have something in control. Crazy.
That's what the crazy lefties want. They want to destroy everything because they don't like the status quo and modernity.
I'm gonna say no.
We need to have some form of order and organization.
Yeah, Trench was like, spitting bars apparently on how fucked up the system is and all this kind of shit, and we need to dismantle the
This
thing.
is a banger.
And now when I literally give it to you on a silver platter, we should abolish the federal government, right? Give the power back to the states. Y'all motherfuckers say no.
What about
There's got to be some control. There's
What
got to be a
about-
control point.
What about
What makes you happy is not going to make me happy. Vice
about-
versa.
unconditionally accelerating its collapse? Can I
Wait,
do
what?
that? Can I
He's,
unconditionally?
he's talking about like a slow removal.
Can I unconditionally accelerate its collapse?
Yeah, that would be abolishing it.
Okay, well, then I guess I'm abolishing it. I didn't know the answer. I just know the heart gets what it wants.
We have states'
I'm kind of
rights.
half on it. I'm kind of half on half. I'd have to know the pros and cons of losing and abolishing the EU and federal government. I honestly think there should be a type of control above just state, because sometimes state just goes out of control. Like, look at states in the United States right now. There are some laws that are just plumb ridiculous.
Well, yeah,
And I'm in Texas, so I can say that shit.
Yo, look at these sanctuary cities and all this crazy shit. I mean, so if you didn't have the federal government, you'd still have it anyway. Like, at the same time, would it really change anything if you did abolish it? So I'm kind of like, I could see both sides of it. I don't know, but
that's where I'm at the unconditional camp.
It's a hypothetical right now, so I'm just gonna say no.
I just need to be able to get. I need to be able to get toilet paper long enough and sustainable enough for when the collapse does happen. I have enough ammo to be the next warlord in my region.
People, here's the dark truth about society. Fundamentally, people are unable. People can govern, but it has to be a arena, like a symposium or a market of free thinking. Like fundamentally, people cannot govern without a body of an institution to lay out rules for everyone to abide by. Think of it like this. It's like a board game. You got random people playing a game together, and there's rules to that game, and everybody who are willing to want to play that game has to abide by the rules. On a bigger scale, much more complex, that's basically how the government type thing works. Not exactly, but it gives you an idea of reference of when you establish an institution governed by rules for everybody to play fair with. That is what we need, because fundamentally people can't sustain society without that. It's been proven multiple times. And the reason, and just real quickly, anyways, but because of that, we able to evolve on it for many years of practice. We're able to have America, the United States of America. It has to be. It has to be. And this is what John Locke and Rousseau was really critical about, of how people in natural law should coexist with one another in terms of how they're going to manage the government and also maintain a nation.
I mean, you gotta be careful. You gotta be careful with Rousseau and Locke, though, because like Rousseau is the proto-socialist to be 100.
Well, that's true. That's true. But they do have with Rousseau
and Locke, you can't pin down.
You two need to get a room.
Like Locke,
you shut the fuck up.
You shut up.
You gotta balance them out. You gotta balance them out with a little bit of Hobbes.
I got a corn dog for you. You hungry?
Where I root Locke is that when he's talking about natural law, where rights come from God before government, and it comes and the power of the government comes from the people, not the other way around. That's where I root that ideology from. And
that's Rousseau?
No, that's Locke.
Okay, yeah.
Rousseau is more so where I extract from, is where he says that you have duties to rights because you have to maintain and participate in the system to maintain and to keep the government in check by exerting your rights through legal channels and other methods that within the Constitution that gives you the authority to. But a lot of people lost that art, but that's a totally different argument.
That's your big.
And speaking of duties, John.
I don't know what you heard, but this
I want to hear what Trench had to say.
We need 2 more super chats. Unless we get the 2 super chats, we'll go on a 4 script break. So just letting you know, chat, you have what? About 15 minutes
Oh.
left. Just letting us know. Just letting us know. But
Sounds
yeah,
good.
go ahead,
Sorry.
Trench.
If banning the federal government meant me
No,
getting,
he was saying you were the
my guns
first.
back,
I wanted to hear what Trent said.
You're the first one to like bring an argument like that of Rousseau that I've heard that's interesting. I never thought of it that way.
I hate the motherfuckers.
Yeah. We can get into a deep conversation at another time, Trench, but I'm willing to have that because it's something that I am very passionate about and it's part of the American ethos.
I always viewed
Go
Rousseau
on.
more as like his big deal with his social contract is, everybody's born innocent more or less. And it's our culture, our civilization, your parents, society, your religion, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, that put all these negative things into you for your fallen state. And if we could just educate everybody enough, we'll achieve, enlightenment. I mean, basically, that's what the Enlightenment was about.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just don't see. I mean, the transcendental argument is based right through it. We can imagine the truth of God is in another rational vehicle of philosophy. But
Go on, man.
But
I like what I'm hearing. Keep going.
But at the end of the day, he's still a champion of like egalitarianism and utilitarianism, the means in which to educate everybody to achieve the Enlightenment. And
I think you burnt one.
And that's where
I'm against
think-
Common Core. I'm against.
Well,
Common
it's a
Core.
noble goal, but it's depending how you execute that, like communism or something. Like there's ideas that are noble, but the way it's executed, that's where it demolishes the noble aspect of the pursuit of the achievement of that thing, and that's where, and I agree with you, Trench, where you have to be very careful with that, and that's why I try to work things through.
Well, I look at it like a
Trench,
tripod.
let me say something too. First off, motherfuckers, maybe if you're neurodivergent like us, maybe you can understand what we're saying. But if we're speaking Greek to you, that's a neuro problem.
I'm not reading your fucking book.
Fuck off.
No.
This isn't neurodivergent. This is just good old fashioned college philosophy retard.
Yeah, I understand.
You know what, Trench, is funny? I never went to college, and that's not supposed to be a knock on you. I'm just saying that I never went to college.
No, well,
I'm self-educated.
It's a collegiate
I went to
effort to
college.
start
Got me
to
a
study
bunch
these
of
people. I
loans,
mean,
man.
you named 2 out of the 3 of like the foundation of like modern social contract theory.
Yeah, and the other one is Charles de Montesquieu, right? Is that the third one?
Well, really, the big 3 are Hobbes, Locke, and Rousseau. Hobbes is Leviathan, Rousseau and his innocence, nature versus nurture, and then Locke and life, liberty, and property, which becomes plagiarized by Jefferson to be happiness, which he's not wrong when you think about it, because property equals desire equals happiness.
Yeah, because you get to own it and keep it.
Yes,
without the government interference until eminent domain came around, which was complete bullshit.
It's individualism, and that's why, like, my worldview, and it like stacks up quite nicely with my theological worldview, backed by famous priestly scholars, and my political worldview, where there's like 3 different teloi competing in like this weird satanic game theory, chaos theory, 3-body problem.
Oh my god! You still here, Terry?
You said demon, and then you're like,
Yeah,
it's demonic.
Basically, what I'm looking for, though, gentlemen, is how do we tie this back into like talking about the federal government?
Yeah, good question.
I don't know how to like. I mean, I said I'm an if it's corrupt, I don't think you should just go like shooting like state agents and being a terrorist. I think that you could probably just like, if it's really, really bad, you could probably just sit back and like pad your fucking resources, reinforce your area as best you can and not worry about it. It's going to do its thing. And then you just get ready for the next thing to come. I keep telling people it's already collapsed. It's done.
You're in a constant warfare state of mind. You know that?
No, I'm actually at peace with it all. I have God for all this. Like, it's done. Death to the world, bro.
Oh,
it's
Hold on,
fucking.
Hold on. That doesn't make sense at all because.
All right, watch it. What?
you're
Just
not the one
Google.
who
Just
decides
YouTube
if
it. Just YouTube it. Death to the world is very.
Patch, I got a question. So you said earlier, and this is me in the spirit of ignorance, so because I'm not going to bullshit you. As of right now, it's more of a shallow research that I've had, but I'm looking into more of like the classical liberalism, and when you say Leviathan, isn't that like the idea from Thomas Hobbes, like the social contract where individuals collectively surrender certain freedoms and sovereign authority in exchange for
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
See, he just explained the theory to folks,
Yeah, I don't do that.
Well, the thing is, here's the thing. I actually fundamentally agree with that, the Leviathan, because that's exactly how our government works. That's exactly what our founding fathers was talking about, the social contract. The Federalists even more understood that, like Alexander Hamilton, James Madison, Henry Clay, they fucking knew that it was necessary because of, again, the British parliamentary. The thing was that they did give certain rights away to the British Parliament, but it wasn't reciprocal because they weren't allowed to be considered as Englishmen.
Hamilton wanted to be an imperialist and usher in like the banking system that we have now. Back then, and that's kind of what got him shot on the White House lawn.
Yeah, I mean, it's just this is where the core of the American foundation is at right here. And when I see questions, should we abolish like the federal government entirely? I actually am for the federal government, but it needs to be strong and firm. It does not need to be a gigantic monolith of an institution like the fucking left wants. See, the left.
I like that idea.
Ethos of
the original republic.
Let me elaborate more before you have your compulsive thoughts there, Trench. No diss on you on that one. But like this is like with the left, like the Keynesian economic theory, where they want to have a big government because they believe that the big government can solve the problems and not the people by through elections and so on. They want a bigger government, where like conservatism, they want a small but firm government, and this is actually aligns to. Well, this actually aligns to like the old school left, like the leftists thought back in the late 1700s that gave France the idea of their revolution. But anyways, this is like something very important that a lot of Americans should know, but they don't know, and worse, they don't even understand it.
Well,
and it's like through the veil of ignorance, it's ridiculous.
Well, it's like how much time does anybody have to like study history and philosophy? It's not. You can't.
Well, the thing is that I agree to a point that they don't teach civics in school. But I remember when we're old enough, Trench. Me and you are roughly the same age, and I know some people here are older. And I know for a fact, and I hear this now and then, people are like, well, what is it? Not. Anyways, I'm going to find that word later. But like you pay attention to people. There's like, well, I went to history class, but I wasn't paying attention. It's like that kind of shit.
I was out of college, and I was probably 30, somewhere in my 30s, when I learned that like no matter where you are in history, regardless of whether it's an empire with a king or an ecclesiarchy with a priesthood in charge of the government, or some kind of democracy where the mercantile class are in charge, like there's always this three telos model of individualists, absolutists, and collectivists, and it doesn't matter what you call it. You can call it communism, you can call them the green shirts of like Turkey, you can call them patricians and plebeians, you could call them the bourgeoisie. It just like a fractal keeps repeating in history, and then you just see the nature of the actual dialectic and not some Marxist materialist version of it mangled from Hegel.
Here's the hidden power that people don't understand, and I know people would resist this idea, but it is what it is. When it comes to like people like the three telos that I actually agree based off the consequences of the mechanisms that we put in place. The hidden power isn't the telos. The hidden power, well, one of the telos, but the hidden power is us. We give the power of which we have that mechanism to help shape our lives. And a lot of people, and that's like the part of like the free will argument. When people say you have no free will, then why would God give me life not to have free will to figure out if I need to go to heaven or not through the actions that I need to take to
removing theology from it becomes a situation of the collective organism, the mass human. It's like it becomes demoralizing. I can't make you people vote correctly in line with my correct vote. So it becomes self-defeating by nature because of personality. We all have different personality and ultimately different desires. And that's what ultimately everything comes down to is everybody desires something different. We all have different preferences.
Yeah.
So there's going to be conflict.
You know,
I call that existentialism.
Are you not able to sway your fellow man's desires? Like Andrew Wilson, for example?
I think that women should be grateful. They should be grateful. They live in the best society ever, and it's all built on the backs of not them. The air conditioning, which enables them to even exist, everything which allows them to exist in modernity is built by men, and they're the most ungrateful, snot-nosed brats about it that you've ever seen. And there's really no cause for it because they bring nothing to the table, none of them, including the old bags here who bring nothing to the table by their own admission except their and that, to me, is why, and when asked, this is all you get. I bring love and affection. You don't bring to the table. And that's why you can't even answer the damn question, no matter how many times we ask it. And it makes me sick because that is modernity.
I think that argument's pretty convincing, no?
Banger. Absolutely.
You know what drives me nuts? Real quick. These leftists, in general, they all want to, they everything's about bigger government. You know, we need to get money for this, and then money for this, and take from yours. And even if you take the ones that are millionaires or in the top, like, 1%, that little box where it says, would you like to give more? None of them are checking that box, yes. They're not paying.
There's a reason why, like, you hear Jay Dyer talking about it all the time, like individualism, collectivism, and absolutism. You hear Father Seraphim Rose talk about it all the time in his book, Nihilism. Like when you get too collectivist, when you get too individualist, or when you get too absolutist, that's when the nihilism kicks in. So I don't know, man. I see the dialectic, and I see it through the fall of man. Like, we don't agree. We can't agree on what's good, what ought.
Well, part of it is people on the left are so insane. They don't understand. The government's not. What do they think the government's going to do if they tax all these people more, raise tax the rich, tax the rich, tax the rich, tax this? Elon Musk don't pay anything. They're not going to give the money to the homeless. They're not going to give the money to the minimum wage people with purple hair and freaking septum piercings.
And it's like they have these compulsions in theories that they completely fuck up because I can actually point to some pretty successful socialist operations around the world and throughout history, like the Amish and like exclusively the whole communal thing works if you have a authentic religious community that it's centered around. Without it, your egalitarian pipe dream utopia goes up in smoke. I think
the Amish have an army.
They don't
What's that?
rely on the government at all.
Does the Amish have an army to protect them, or is it the federal government?
They don't care. You could probably slaughter the Amish and they'd just be like, it's our time.
They got guns.
What?
Yeah, they got guns.
They got guns. They're not going to just lay down, but they're not also going to.
It's also in the Midwest, but a whole bunch of people would have to defend them.
It's not just the Midwest. It starts in the Northeast, and they got places in the South.
The U.S. is under no threat of invasion, for starters.
Another community that started off that way, granted,
Based on our federal
they've completely gone, the modern liberal route.
This is insane.
But the Mormons, like the whole establishment of Utah, is just such an example.
So who protects you from other countries?
Well, the Mormons.
I'll tell you who protects you from other countries.
From the United States.
The white version of Trench.
Let's talk about me. Let's talk about the 6'8" frame, the 37-inch vertical leap, the black steel that drips down my back, aka the bulletproof mullet, the Google prototype scopes with built-in LCD, LED, 1080p, 3D Sony technology, the Ethiopian poisonous caterpillar, aka Slick Daddy. Let's talk about the cabinets right behind me that go 40 feet deep into the wall that houses the other 95% of my trophies, the awards, the certificates, all claiming first place, right? Let me give you a little inside glimpse into the hotshot video gaming lifestyle of the two-time international video gaming superstar. Because that's what this channel's about. That's what this domain's about. That's what the society is about. You're looking at the face of Twitch, and goddamn, is Twitch lucky.
I never noticed this until now, but Trench is basically just the black version of Dr. Disrespect.
I mean, I am the two-time Missouri State judo champion.
See what I'm saying?
Back to back.
Back to back.
2001, 2002, baby. Ipan Saranaku.
I was really hoping that was going to get put on me.
That's just so hilarious.
You still study judo?
Oh, no. I have guns now. But yes, I mean, it's like riding a bike. I mean, I'll still fold the motherfucker up into a lawn chair if necessary.
I was into mixed martial arts and all that shit, man. It did a number on my joints, man. I'm wrecked.
Oh, the Army did that. Yeah, I'm crushed from the field artillery. It destroyed my whole soul. And then art school finished off what was left of it. But anyway, yeah, I would probably abolish all the governments everywhere. Now that I think about it.
No, French, you're losing me. No, you're doing so.
I just don't. Okay. The reason why I answered it that way, though.
Don't switch sides on me, Trench. You're the only motherfucker I can trust.
It is a yes or no question, so I had to go to the yes side because of the unconditional accelerationist ideology. It's like I'm not going to throw rocks at the cops. I'm not going to throw Molotov cocktails. I'm not even going to protest. I'm not even going to vote. I'm just going to sit on the sideline and watch these fat bitches eat everything that's not bolted down to the ground and create a lawless society and watch it melt down around them. And then my grandchildren will have good Christian virtue to deal with the mess.
Does that mean it's inevitable?
It's already happened. It's been happening for a long time. What? All right, so like you could say that like they brushed the rug under a lot of the fucking murders of the emperors, the last two Christian emperors specifically. They were dictators. They're tyrants. They're fucking buttholes. And they got what was coming to them. But do you think that's the whole truth?
No.
Well, probably everything we hear just about isn't the whole truth. It's twisted in some kind of way. I mean, I don't know. That's kind of how I see it.
So that becomes the meltdown in which there are no more Christian nationalist places. Not to the same extent. Granted, you can't delete it. Like if you go to certain ethnic communities, they'll identify as their religion. Like their nationality is inseparable from their religion. But
it doesn't mean they practice it.
But it's a different thing, because I say that and people think that means like the priesthood's in charge. No, that there were emperors in charge. There was a whole governmental system in charge. One that people didn't vote and still irked out happy, prosperous lives for themselves. For certain things.
I'm still gonna say no. I'm still gonna say no. You call me selfish, but I'm at the point where I only I worry about my family, my daughter, for the most part, my friends, and shit hits the fan. We already got plans that we're gonna get together and huddle down and do what we got to do.
And wait for my fucking Mad Max army to roll up on you and fucking subjugate.
Like,
well, fuck you.
Trench says on the one hand, we like this is already happening, and like this rebirth's gonna happen, and like everyone's gonna become more Christian, and then literally Trench's next response is, "I'm gonna roll up with my Mad Max army."
Well,
I got to depend on everybody else's guns.
The point
I spent $2,000
stress and imperative
air rifle.
Your seed and your seed.
$2,000 on an air rifle. I got home. I was like, I am out of my fucking mind. I mean, it's
$2,000
cool
for an air rifle, dude. Another G, and you could have bought yourself a honey badger.
I can't. I lost my gun rights. I told you, I got charged with terroristic threats and brandishing a firearm in public, both which were made up. This dude stole copper from me. About $3,000 worth of copper from me. Went to his house. I just wanted to confront him. I don't know. It was a stupid decision on my part.
You want to know one of the most profound philosophical quotes I've ever heard in my life, and it came from the movie Training Day.
Which one's that?
He says, no, that's actually number 3. What's he? Fuck! Now I've done forgot it.
What the?
Oh my goodness gracious!
That's not all I have is air rifles, but I'm gonna leave it at that. I got a backup, but dude, you should see this fucking thing, man. It's pre-charged, right? So it's got an air cylinder in it, and I get about 30 shots out of it. It's got a 16-round magazine, and it shoots 190 grains.
Just stay in the bunker. Just stay in the bunker, dude. Or get a gun once the civilization's collapsed and there's no law.
It rips cinder blocks apart, and all I gotta do is press my own lead. That's it.
But your situation reminds me of it's not what you know, it's what you can prove.
Well, and that's why I had to give up all my guns.
That shit like echoes in my being like almost every day. Like it's not what you know, it's what you can prove. Is this battle worth the fight? It's like I wish I could fucking like really chimp out on fucking Epstein Island and all this other stuff, but it's like it's not what I know, it's what I can prove. Same thing with like 9/11.
Somebody comes in my house, that's all out the window. I mean, you come in my house, you're fucking getting dealt with.
Well, when things become empirical, and I would also recommend there's better options than fucking BB guns, dude. Go get yourself a fucking firearm, a black powder ATF firearm.
This is way more powerful. I got a 72 caliber, puts out 1,700 foot-pounds of energy.
So you're telling me that's going to be better than like a Schofield fucking ball, 50 cal ball coming at you?
Yeah. It shoots 1,800 grain rounds. 1,800 grains.
So in your situation, that I don't want to get too deep into, but do you think
I have
you could
something
have,
else too. I have something
Yeah,
else.
talking while muted
handled
don't
things-
work.
Do you think you
I
could
have
have handled
something
things
else, too.
differently?
Anyway, last week.
Anyway, gentlemen, we're talking about abolishing the federal government,
I
not
said no
airsoft
already.
rifles.
No,
What the
talking about
fuck is
something else.
going on?
I
Yeah,
said no.
Yeah,
It's not an airsoft rifle.
That's
It
on
shoots
me.
through a brick wall. It'll shoot through a brick wall. So, but anyway, I still say no. I still say no. I'm still going to stick with no. That we shouldn't have.
No, we can't.
I mean,
You can, but
if you're really doomsday prepping, which I just have a bunch of guns because I think they're
I'm not
awesome.
doomsday
I'm not
prepping.
doomsday prepping.
I sort of was, but I had to give them all up. I had a lot of nice guns too. A lot
But
invested in them.
if you're really going to doomsday prep, you need to doomsday prep and learning skills and crafts. Like, can you pour concrete?
yes.
Dude, that's what I do for a living, man.
Tits, dude, that's base.
Concrete. I build
That's
bricklaying, carpentry, all of it.
What motherfuckers come at me with like, I want to overthrow the government. I'm like, dude, have you ever poured concrete?
They ever fucking nailed a 2x4 up? Probably not.
Sheetrock.
No, it sucks
ever
though,
hung sheetrock?
because I think I heard you guys earlier saying something about
You ever laid carpet?
the pay getting fucked, and like you ain't gonna see a white boy around here swinging a hammer on a roofing to save your life because like there's just you can't pay or a black dude.
Or here's another idea that's going to be very controversial. You could shut the fuck up.
My
that's
man
funny.
Jack Blade saying, "Shut the fuck up and spin that wheel."
The Mexicans do all the roofing here too. They're good workers though. They do it hard. They do it good. They do it fast.
They're killing our labor.
Gentlemen,
yeah, I know, but I don't want to do roofs. Fuck that. I got other shit I could do.
Yeah, just wait till they
Is
pour
genetic
concrete.
engineering in humans ethically acceptable?
Put him up in the corner. We can't read it. Teriyaki.
Yeah.
What's that? What's
Is
that?
genetic engineering in humans?
Oh, this is easy. This is an easy one.
I say no.
You say it now.
I say no. I don't think we should be fucking playing God.
Ethically, no, it's not acceptable.
Take it easy, Darth. But are you saying that if we could cure cancer genetically, you wouldn't want that?
If we can cure cancer genetically, that's not.
Yeah.
Oh.
That'd be like cancer, the any other thing like Down
Killing
syndrome.
blind,
Or,
making
I don't know. Do we really want to extend the lifespan when of all Americans when half of them ain't worth a shit either?
Oh, damn.
God
What
damn.
if it was that's
What
fine.
the hell?
What if it was to kind of dial back some of the autism stuff?
That's called the transhuman dread.
I don't know. I think we should just leave it in God's hands. Fucking let it be.
I don't know. I'm all for genetic engineering as long as we create multiple legions of genetically modified space marines that are each like fucking 10 feet, 12 feet
I knew
tall.
he was going there. How did I know that?
And we completely strip emotion out of their being and just put in duty and service and logic.
Have you seen the patch for the Space Force? The intelligence part?
Yes. But
What
you're
is it?
missing
What's on it then? What's on it?
you're missing the religious fanaticism part. That
No. What's on the patch?
So you're down with Down syndrome, is what you're saying?
No. You just got to give genetically modified religious fanaticism a chance.
So you're
I
down
was
with
thinking, when I read this, I was thinking like engineering a baby, you want blue eyes or whatever. Want them to be 6 foot.
I mean, I guess that's cool.
5'5".
I mean, yeah, if you want, I mean, Sanguinius was a whole thing. He wanted all his kids to have blue eyes and shit. I mean, it kind of worked out for him. I mean, they're a bunch of space weirdos.
Here's my
Emos.
worry. Who's in charge of this? Our healthcare system.
God.
What are they going to use it for? But genetic engineering? What are they going to use it for?
Holy
Think
war.
about it.
Hold on, wasn't that what the Romans used though? When they thought that their gods should cause anybody with a genetic defect to be thrown off a cliff.
The Romans, are you
Spartans.
that is Spartans, but they weren't the only ones committing infanticide throughout it. I mean, the Eskimos did shit like that too. They just put the baby outside the igloo.
Isn't that genetic engineering?
No, it's called oh yeah, it's called eugenics.
Eugenics. That's what I'm thinking. They could use genetic engineering also, like eugenics.
I mean,
They
yes,
could use
but
it the other way too.
but selecting for traits is like winning traits would be a eugenic process, and then like if we were to create a fucking uber fucking loser out of the most uber losers genetics, then that would be a dysgenic thing to create. I don't know, Circa or any of the other ones.
I don't know. I just worry about because
Destiny.
I just don't trust. I just don't trust the healthcare system. I mean, look at the shit in Canada just made shit.
I mean, that's probably good. You should always have a healthy amount of skepticism, but also, I mean, maybe a flu shot probably could be good for you during a time of need.
I ain't taking
Or
no
a
flu
polio shot.
I got
Yeah,
forced to
any
get a
of it.
COVID shot and it almost fucking killed me.
Like I was born with club feet, and my shit was like twisted backwards. I had a surgery as a kid, and I could run faster than when I had the fucking Forrest Gump shoes and everything.
Isn't attraction a form of genetic engineering?
Well, that's just social Darwinism. We're attracted to things that we perceive are winning traits.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Let me tell you.
William don't care. He wants to spin that wheel, baby. More spins, more madness. You know what I mean? Gentlemen, is democracy the best system?
Oh, no.
Again.
Like, pure democracy sucks.
Mm-hmm. Also, shout out to Jack for the gifted membership, and he actually gifted Darth a membership. So, congratulations.
Nah, it should be a full-blown republic.
Another banger question.
Mm-hmm. Now, here's my issue with democracy. It puts ignorance and intelligence as equal value.
Bounce myself.
Oh boy, who decides who's who, or who decides? You know,
Aristotle.
Or who?
Well, I mean, it just allows ignorant people to make things come into law at the same time as intelligent people, and then like it takes intelligent people a long time to get that stuff out of law. It's a back and forth bullshit.
I mean,
what it is.
I mean, what does demo mean etymologically? I mean, democracy is a bad word, actually. I'd rather have a polity or polis.
When you say demo, I would perceive it as like a trial. Like, let's try this out. Like let's see how this goes.
Like demolition or demolish.
It comes from demos, which means neighborhood. Democracy means neighborhood speaks.
Yeah, but you also demolish it.
Not to him. It's always battle, war.
Terry, I can't hear me. I don't think you can. You gotta let me back in. I bounced myself.
Like with Latin, things get weird. It's like, why in the Bible it doesn't say, what fruit is in the garden. Who knows? But we associate it with an apple, and this is also the root of like malice, malum, apple, malum, malice.
It was the tree of knowledge of good and evil.
Yeah, but someone had to some Roman or Latin at some point in time was like, yeah, we're just going to call it an apple.
Yeah, sincere question. Was it called the tree of life or tree of knowledge?
Tree of knowledge of good and evil.
Yes.
Okay. Just checking.
I think there was another tree called tree of life.
Yes, there's trees in the garden. God didn't just put a loaded gun in the baby crib. That's the atheist argument with the problem of evil.
God didn't do what?
Bad things happen by design. So why did God put the tree of good and evil inside of the garden is the basic philosophical argument.
He wanted to test his creation. That's why.
Maybe, I don't know.
That's what I think. Just my opinion.
I heard a theory
Guess what?
recently that,
We failed. He was setting it up for the rest of the time.
Maybe he had big plans for Adam with his tree, for all we know. But after he wasn't ready and did it, he couldn't eat from the tree of life because he'd know what the gods know and be as not like God, but there's certain metaphysical implications, I think, that are getting thrown down that are beyond my pay grade that I don't understand. So I'm not going to try to.
Yeah, I'm not going to quote the Bible or anything myself. I'm not going to butcher that. No way.
But, so I just don't think that God was some klutz or neglectful parent that just
you can count on that.
That left a gun in the crib. And that
you're basically saying like democracy is like Cain and Abel. You're just gonna let the other guy kill you.
No, I think it's like I said, Aristotle. I think it's like Aristotle. There's like 3 forms of government or power. It's not even government. There's just three forms of power, and there's a positive, virtuous form of it, and then there's a degenerated form of it. And democracy is the degenerated form of the many, and a polity or polis is the virtuous form of it. A degenerated form of the few is an oligarchy, and the virtuous form of it is an aristocracy, and then a tyrant and a monarch for the one. And you can't separate this. It's like the Pareto distribution or Siffer's principle. It just is. It's an is. He's describing an is. In philosophy, we hate that. We hate it. I'm a is philosopher. I don't prescribe a lot of odds. We hate that. I hate it. I know other people hate it when I do it.
When you said that, reminded me of Bernie Sanders. This world is coming to an oligarchy.
And he's not wrong. It's just that we're not talking about all 6 flavors of Aristotle's observation. And it's very easy to play linguistic games.
But if democracy is the best system, like putting ignorance on the same level as intelligence is retarded. Like that should be the worst system, no?
I would.
I didn't say it was the best. I honestly think full-blown republic is better.
I mean, you can absolutely limit voting, but democracy and polity both imply that this massive human collective, which is the majority of everybody, is a power force. And you ought, if there's any oughts being prescribed, you ought listen to what it's saying or negotiate with it or subjugate it. Those are your only options.
Yeah, it's like if we didn't have the Constitution. If we didn't have the Electoral College, New York, California would basically decide everything.
Chicago. Yeah, in LA. Yeah.
Or Texas, because America, it's not a static environment where one party or one teloi dominates it forever. It's like generational cycles.
Yeah.
So yeah, your side might be on top right now, but you want that shit happening to you.
Yeah,
and I think that's where we got
the filibuster. Like sometimes I think they should just nuke it, but then what if Dems are in power? They do the same thing. So they will.
Whatever individualist is left in me, it's that principle of like Mill. Yeah, you should be able to say what you want up to the point of violence. If you don't give people freedom of conscience, freedom of choice, chaos and ignorance prevail, and then all the tyrannies that stem from that. But there's that what Aristotle's point out is the tyranny in all 3 of them when they're degenerated. So when the mob is just purely in control and in its own echo chamber with all the mechanisms of power and control, you end up in a situation where, that If you don't call that dude over there a woman, you're going to gulag.
Could you imagine if there was a pure democracy in America?
I mean, it wouldn't last long. That's the good news.
Nah, it wouldn't have made it this far.
I mean, pure democracies, historically speaking, don't last long. And anything that looks like them, even like communism, like the failure of communism wasn't just like brutalizing everybody in gulag and firing squads. It was the gift. It was like the death of 1,000 cuts that hit like a feedback loop. So you demonize, in just about every communist state ever, you demonize the intellectual class. Who are the intellectual class? They're not just these college professors, because that's where everybody starts beefing first. It's also the optometrist. It's also the doctor. It's the lawyer. So when all these institutions...
William.
Oh, shit, I just realized, too. All right, it's 4:30, guys. Oh, shit, right on the button. William's like, I'm not letting that. I'm not letting that.
Get it? His name is William, and he says, spin that motherfucking wheel.
Thank you,
William.
We do have $21 in the spin bank as well, gentlemen, so don't be afraid to request a spin. Should we bomb our enemies first?
No.
Yes.
Depends on intel.
Yeah, what do we mean by enemies?
I think it depends
Like,
on...
so for example, the Iran. What went down in Iran? Like, do you support saying fuck it, we're doing the preemptive?
I don't think we should. I don't think we should have bombed them first.
Has to be informed.
I think if we're as big and bad as we think we are, and is, historically proven, it's kind of on us to wait for Pearl Harbor to happen.
You want to wait for Pearl Harbor to happen?
Kind of, yes.
Because that's kind of what's going to happen.
Because then you're justified in what you do.
You want to wait for that?
And then you can have your Tinker Tape parade after you win. Because then you
Back
have
to war again.
Well, I'd like you to elaborate on that because I don't want any American deaths.
I just think if you're going to fight war, which is inevitable,
That was a huge amount of American deaths. That's insane to say that.
That you have to have clear objectives and motivators.
What, the people who don't have the information making the decisions should die?
Okay, so lots of people are going to die.
Make the decisions.
Lots of people die in war and like the escalation of war, right?
Not Americans.
Historically, everybody, even Americans, Pearl Harbor did happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and it sounds
tragic,
awful.
Was it not? Are you saying
Yeah.
it wasn't tragic?
But I look at the nation states as individuals, right? It's like millions of people that make one superorganism, and in that dichotomy, some superorganisms are bigger, faster, stronger, more reliable, more clever, cunning, successful than other organisms. So I think as the global hegemon, you have a moral obligation and duty that when you break out the war engines and toys and absolutely run house against the opposition or enemy or contender, that you not only can explain to you.
I guess he's saying like something tragic like that would make us use our full guns, our complete arsenal would just obliterate the enemy.
How do you know?
What if Iran? What if Iran were just the motherfuckers crazy enough because of this, this ideology? I mean, they blow themselves up and shit. What if they were just crazy enough? Let's say that Russia or China, somebody gave them nuclear capability that they wouldn't get just so pissed off and just say, fuck it, we don't care if we die.
Well, it would be, I would assume it would be probably DC that would go first because that would be their main target. They literally
I don't know.
think that
Generally,
taking out DC would take out the United States, but that's not really how it works.
generally against like the whole regime change thing because I've seen how it works. I mean, it's like the same thing over and over and over again.
Wasn't that over like
I'm not gonna
1,000
bail-
years?
I'm not going to bail. I'm not going to just bail on Trump over it. You know.
No, I'm just saying.
The whole thing got me fucked up.
You got to be able to justify to your people and the world, and like history shows, that whole set suit thing is kind of right. If you have like a mandate of heaven, if you have the tactical advantage, if you have the economic advantage, if you have the political advantage, then no one's going to second guess your motive. But when you're delivering a justification at 2:00 in the morning when the world's asleep, and you refuse to give a justification outside of pseudo-religious platitudes and sloganeering and like the basic bitch of geopolitical strategic arguments, because Iran isn't a real strategic threat to America, if we're going to be honest. They're a threat to some of our allies, but I don't know if what that has to do with necessarily make America great again, which is what I signed up for.
So you're just supposed to let somebody punch you in the face first before you punch them
I
back?
think Make America Great Again stands for bring back the values that we've had forever.
Here was for Ukrainian intervention.
But would that be a good strategy in the UFC? Like if you're in a physical fist fight 1-on-1, would that be a good strategy?
UFC is voluntary.
Yeah, it's two totally different things. I didn't vote for this either, but I mean, the writing's been on the wall for a long time.
Yeah, you started fucking up, the first time this happened, and everybody was like, hey, okay, you kind of got lucky there. It was a clean operation. You blew up the thing you said you were going to blow up, and you're out clean, but how many more of these do you have left in you?
With Soleimani, you mean? Is that what you're talking about, his first term?
No, I'm talking about when we blew up the
Ayatollah.
No, the quote-unquote nuclear facility that our own intelligence agency said.
Oh.
You're talking about Iran.
How much of that, how successful was that? We really don't know. That's the thing.
We're the only ones that could even pull that off.
We pulled it off. But what did we pull it off for?
How long?
Because what was the report given to Congress about the nuclear capabilities and position of Iran? Literally days before we blew up the facility.
I don't know what that report said, to be honest with you.
Well,
from Tulsi Gabbard?
Yes.
Yeah, they weren't even close, wasn't it? To enriching enough uranium to even
she's actually been out of the. She appears because she's a fucking director of national intelligence. So, her name's gonna get tossed out. But since that fallout, when that happened, you haven't seen her on stage with everybody else.
What are you saying? What's your point?
Yeah, kind of thinking.
What's the point?
Kind of think she's
What the hell is my mic broke? I'm getting ready to hit this mic.
No, I don't know what the point is. I'm just making an observation. Like there's some kind of contention there.
Think she's
Well, we probably took it out, but it's under a mountain of granite. So how we even going to know that?
She lost brownie points in order to keep her job. She's just been on the back. She's been on the backlight. She's been doing her job, but she hasn't been front and center like Tulsi Gabbard's been front and center for the last 10 years.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
So it was a failed mission.
Could it be? No, it's not a failed mission. It was a success, but who knows what they blew up? Was it a bunker of some kind? Yes. I've seen bunkers in the desert before. All kinds of shit.
Can I contend with your Pearl Harbor theory here? So, like, if you were to scale the ability of weapons now versus at the time of Pearl Harbor, so you're okay with, like, I mean, that would be
absolutely
a huge loss of human life.
No.
And you think that justifies unifying? instead of doing it through logic.
I'm saying that we also have another phantasm, the threat of impeding nuclear holocaust at any given time. So you ought agree with this horrible foreign policy, or else the world is going to nuke itself. It's kind of like the truth argument. You ought agree with this nonsense, or else they're going to delete themselves and everybody around them.
If we do that, it's going to be over. You won't know anything.
I'm saying that's
Literally.
not how.
Yeah,
That's
it'll
not
be
even like in
over.
game theory, in tactical and strategic game theory. That's not even how a nuke fight would go down. And let's say they start firing off nukes left and right, like Nagasaki and Hiroshima.
It's different scale. That was in the 40s.
It's different. Yeah, completely different.
Still,
now it's like 100 times.
Just scaled up slightly more. I think that we're
Scaled up.
seriously.
Yeah, you can say that.
I think we're seriously. It's not that nukes aren't a danger, not because of the damage threat and the loss of life threat that they impose. I'm also saying that nukes aren't a danger because, like, the mutually assured destruction program, MAD, has proven itself to be the most stable period of time in Earth history, even with all of the chaos around us right now. And as fucked as it seems,
All we can do is hope sane people have their finger on the trigger or the launch codes, or whatever the other countries use, whatever.
I mean,
Let's just hope no insane person.
But it's
gets a
not,
hold of it.
it's not even about the sane or insane, because even insane people have self-preservation. And so
Oh yeah, you're born with it. Yeah.
yeah, I can't shoot this nuke because I'm gonna fucking get nuked. And that's proven itself. Like
The
Kim
nuke-
Jong, the Koreans have a nuke. Turkey, Pakistan and
Knows
India have
India
nukes.
has.
Assumed that everybody does.
A lot of people have nukes. You'd be surprised.
A lot of countries have them.
Yes, Pakistan, India, they hate each other. They both swore for years they were gonna fucking blow each other off the map.
Well, see, we tried to stop the one country that actually might push the damn button. They tell you got to take them at their word. You know,
North Korea said that they were gonna fucking glass fucking L.A., New York, London,
and they would if they could. What are you gonna bet?
Berlin. They have a nuke.
Yeah, but I'm just saying they're not insane.
Exactly.
They would be the.
What happens is once you get the nuke, then certain countries can't leverage against you. Like a nuke
Right.
in this day and age is the ultimate form of sovereignty. It's like walking around with open carrying with a fucking pistol on your waist.
I still can't get over that. You said you want another Pearl Harbor.
I didn't say I want a Pearl Harbor. I said if it means Pearl Harbor, then I would agree that we should probably wait to be attacked first in certain. I mean, I guess you could put it on a.
You're talking about the damn optics of it, ain't you, or something?
Okay. Yes, all of it.
It's insane.
Just
It's
moral-
like saying 9/11 should happen again because we were so unified after the fact. Why would
Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, that's a bad one because I don't.
Everybody
think
had a
9/11
flag on their car, right?
Could happen again.
I mean, it
and I don't
was
think it was
unity,
supposed to
but it
happen.
shouldn't take that though. And
Well,
I
mean, we have fundamental disagreements about 9/11, so that's a bad example.
I
for
don't
me.
care how it happened. It happened. Whatever happened, happened. All the
No,
people
wait.
lost their lives, and we united.
When you have the SecDev directly ordering fighter sorties to stand down when they're trying to identify if it's a real world
You're talking
target,
conspiracies. That's not what I'm talking. That's not what he's saying. That's not his point.
and that's why we can't. That's why we can't, because it's a conspiracy to you, even though it's also documented history to include the Pentagon losing a
it's neither here nor there. It was
$2
a
trillion
dollars. It's my
$2 trillion
lost
the day
Trent.
before.
Trent's just the lost lives he's talking about, and what it did to the country afterwards, as it should have been. We united big time.
Now we get to my training day
that the
philosophy.
United
It's not what
States,
you know, it's what you can prove.
I
So
lived in
I don't go
Staten
run
Island.
around the street saying 9/11 is an inside job. I'm not trying to end up in the funny farm with my guns taken
Did
away.
a
That's
shit
crazy.
ton of people die? Did a shit ton of people die?
Yeah,
Regardless,
they did.
Actually, a small amount of people died compared to the normal occupancy of the buildings, which were renovated.
Spin the
Stop it
button.
with the conspiracy. It's not what he's talking about.
Yeah, ask yourself about dancing Israelis.
Can we spin the wheel?
What about
Yeah.
this? What about the people? I lived in Staten Island. I could see those buildings from my window.
4 months, Chief. Our government sat on these. We'll call them spooks.
Or here's another idea that's going to be very controversial. You could shut the fuck up.
You gotta wait for comedic timing, folks, and spin that motherfucking wheel.
Sure. What wheel was this, Terry? By the way,
This is the political
Political.
wheel. What
I like this
is
one.
the ideal tax system or the tax rate? What is the perfect tax system for a country?
what's good enough for the church? 10%. Period. No more.
I do
Okay,
support
so-
flat tax, but I do like tariffs in order to reduce the federal income tax.
In the name of egalitarianism, I do like that 10% thing right there. If it's
Yeah.
a sliding metric and everybody knows it's 10% and there's a fairness behind it, I get behind that.
Yeah. Kind of like a flat tax, but not 10% is pretty good chunk of your money. I mean, damn.
Yeah, but it's better than getting raped.
It's better than half right now.
Yeah. Better than 40.
In federal.
Well,
crazy.
half when you consider what the black
nothing
market
back.
does to your inflation.
Oh, 100%. As somebody in the cannabis industry.
No, I'm not talking about that kind of inflation. I'm talking about the swinging.
No, I
hand
mean on the
of
black
these
market
groups.
part.
Yes, and the gray market's even worse. The thing that busses in immigrants so that they work in the slaughterhouses in Georgia, and then once they can't keep up with the grotesque fucking concrete jungle, for lack of a better allegory, reality of it, they quit, and then they bring in a whole new batch because blacks and whites have long since abandoned
A
doing
whole new batch of what?
that type
That's
of
what
work,
had
that
to
type of pay, slaughterhouse work.
Yep. That's
I
how
think
they keep.
everybody should pay the same percentage. And this argument that these people say,
No.
"Oh, well, the rich don't pay their fair
But not
share."
not everybody's time is equally of value, and you're missing the whole fundamental purpose of or truth. It's not even a purpose, I would say, but the truth is not everybody is equal. Your time isn't Andrew Wilson's time.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
Yeah. You sell your time. That's all you do. Your whole life, if you're working
I don't.
at your
I
job or your
think-
place of employment, whatever you do, you're just selling your time. What's it worth?
So it should depend on how hard you work. 10%, or percentage, an equal percentage, because if someone makes $2 million a year, that 10% is a hell of a lot more money going into the federal government and their state taxes than 10% of my money. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I get, but there's always going to be some kind of subjective argument, and this is how you end up with getting taxed. We're going to tax you for the amount of money that we think you had the potentiality to make.
Oh, no. No.
I mean, these were the proposals in the last 5 years, or six. What
That's
was
why they're not in law.
What was it called? Unrealized.
Unrealized. Yeah. Yeah.
Who's the
Unrealized.
arbiter of unrealized income? How does that work?
They were talking about taxing
It don't
your
work.
freaking investments, taxing money you don't even have yet.
But you know, do you see the slippery slope that's built on? That's
No,
that's
seen
like that's some Manchurian level. Or no, what's that? What's that show with the fucking balls that come out with the pre-crime? It's a movie with fucking
Pre-crime. That's the name of it. Pre-crime, isn't it?
I can't remember.
No. It wasn't pre-crime. It's something else.
It's just some dystopian level
Damn it.
shit. Like, how do you know what somebody's potential earnings are going to be? What pitfalls could hit that person? Like a war, for instance, that was out of their complete fucking control, and they thought they were voting for a dude to emphatically
Minority
keep them out of
Report.
war. But yes, Minority Report.
It was chat put it in. I didn't come up.
Well, that's why
That's
if you
got
have a flat fee, like a certain percentage, if your income changes, you're only paying that certain percent, and assuming you're still going to have your same tax breaks, tax credits, if you make 50 grand a year, 60 grand a year, 70
But what
grand a
does
year.
history show? The history shows that, the government started a war that is crazy expensive, and it has disrupted the global economic system. And now your cost as a business is going to go up your profits aren't going to be anywhere near your own personal projections, much less the higher level inflated projections that the government's going to give you because it wants to tax more. Just like here in Kansas City, the property value is all fucked sideways because they appraised everybody's house 3 times what they're fucking worth. These are all fucking Sears cookie cutter fucking catalog houses, but they want fucking $250,000 for them. That's nuts.
$250,000. You see some of that. You should see the house my friend bought in Jersey. He told me he paid just under $1 million for it. I'm thinking it's going to be a huge freaking house.
But this is the Midwest. I'm supposed to be able to buy a fucking $30,000 house here.
What's that?
So this is the Midwest. I'm supposed to be able to buy a $30,000 house here and raise my kids.
Would it be feasible if it, instead of an income tax or anything like that, it was just on consumables? So there was 10%, or I mean, adjust that accordingly, right? But anything you buy, you're paying tax on instead of paying tax on money you earn.
Yeah, 10%, a flat rate that's reasonable. I mean, I'm not stuck at 10%. I wouldn't go. Well, I wouldn't break 20% though. I'm a firm believer in the Cipher principle.
Yeah, but wouldn't that also change the threshold of? But wouldn't that change the threshold of people who are actually paying taxes? Because it is kind of a pyramid scheme the way it is.
But it's based on per capita at the end of the day, and that's probably, of all the models we can draw up, that's probably the fairest way to do it.
Yeah. I think
what drove up the value on your home? What caused that?
I mean, say you invented the cure for AIDS and cancer, and it made your dick fucking 12 times bigger. Are you entitled to some kind of notoriety, fame, and monetary compensation?
Property taxes are fucking bullshit too, I think.
I mean, do you believe in intellectual property though?
Mm-hmm.
Well, intellectual. I'm not talking about intellectual property. Here you are. I'm just saying, like, property taxes are ridiculous. Mike,
but property is more than just this laptop in front of me. It's also my fucking BMI rights for some music I've made. It's also
I'm talking about property taxes for, like, I'm talking about for homes and land. I pay over $2,000 a year just in my taxes in PA. The way they come, it's 2 bills. One's for school taxes, one's for the property, which is my land and the value of my home.
So you're not.
That's why you could never truly own land ever, and that's why
you're not concerned.
Miss a few tax payments and see what happens. Like you pass away, you have nobody to leave it to.
Right.
It's not going to sit there. I promise.
And I'm paying $2,000 a year in school taxes. Well, guess what? My kid don't go to school here. My kid graduated high school. I paid taxes, even higher taxes, in that township where I lived when she was going to grammar school, middle school, and high school, whatever you want to call it. Now she's away at college, going to be done in 2 months. I'm paying for that myself. Okay. Why should I have to pay fucking school taxes?
Well, your family is a different situation. That's like, I believe in communism at the family unit level. Like in my house, like what's mine is yours. And this is the communal pot. This is how we're operating. Like in the block, we're kind of close knit. So there's a degree of socialism going. I'm gonna borrow your rake. I'll let you borrow my fucking car jack. You know?
Yeah, we have a website here set up for that, which is actually pretty freaking cool. Where you can go on if like you want to borrow a ladder, like you could post stuff online. Like it's this like neighborhood thing, and it's been working out pretty good. And you get to like meet people too, that neighbors you might not have met.
I used to
say was telling a story about $1 million home or just under $1 million home, but I didn't catch the last part of it.
At the municipal, state, and federal level, there'd be differences, but now
hold on, Trent.
My friend bought $1 million home in Jersey, and I'm expecting like this thing's gonna be like ridiculously huge and nice.
Yeah,
and it ain't shit. Like it's not even twice as nice as the home I paid $175,000 for when I bought it. That's probably worth
holy crap
now, just because it's in Jersey. He wants to live in Jersey, which is crazy anyway, because he moved from New York. I'm like, you're moving from one freaking communist state to another. In Jersey, it's
For
crazy.
just
They
under
say
$1 million, huh?
And they
How many bedrooms is it? Look.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
William don't care. He wants to spin that wheel.
William,
you
Oh,
the
fuck
boss.
William Black. Fuck. Gentlemen, this is probably one of my favorite prompts in all the wheels. Does Australia matter globally?
What's Australia?
It's not real.
Exactly. I never heard of that place before.
Yeah. What is it? What does it mean?
It's basically a former prison camp.
It's Atlantis. Is that what it is? Formerly a prison camp.
Wait,
My argument is
people to like some island or something.
Yeah, like Australia has fallen off relevancy so much so that like people don't even think it exists anymore. My plan is to make Australia great again. Not in the same way that Trump is making America great again. What I want to do is I want to make Australia great again as in bring it back to the former prison colony that it was. Think about like all these illegals and all this kind of shit. We're going to send them over to Australia. Think of like, Justin Trudeau. Canadians can't technically deport him. But if we had Australia to deport him to, then we have justification.
I think it's the first time I've ever agreed with you 100%, Terry.
Yeah, we're going to need the space after we fill up.
Send a bunch of shitheads there. How's that making Australia I mean, matter globally? I mean, it's going to matter, but it's going to be shit for them.
It only.
Shut up, bitch!
William says, shut the fuck up, we're spinning the wheel again. He doesn't want to talk about Australians. But I thought I was making a decent case there for the Australians, you know? Probably not the most ideal, but someone's got to be a prison camp. I'm just saying.
Being loyal to the Chinese.
Should college education be free for everyone?
Absolutely not.
No.
No, it's a choice.
Okay, so if I film like all the lectures and put them on YouTube, why shouldn't we make that free?
It already is.
It's your
if you're
choice.
going for that aspect.
You have equally the choice to monetize them. You can put them behind a paywall.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that it's like if we could just record all the college lectures, then couldn't we give everyone a free education by putting it on YouTube?
I also think it damages the state of academia by making it dysgenic. We're going to give everybody a degree, even if it's a degree in underwater basket weaving, and we're going to saturate the market with worthless degrees. Then what does it mean that you went to college? I mean, they've undermined themselves. What does the average person think like when someone starts getting high and mighty about their college education? That you're a woke idiot full of fucking nonsense and make-believe.
It does now. It didn't used to.
You already have a shit ton of people going to college for useless shit because of all the grants they get. You make it free, you're going to have people that are going to waste.
No, those aren't grants. Those aren't grants. Those are a $4 trillion liability right now. Well, it's 2 on paper, but it looks more like $4 trillion.
Well, whatever. It's sometimes the school.
The grants are separate. Like you can yourself apply for all the student aid, tuition, and a few other programs, and get that money and start school. The grants are a secondary and tertiary, where you write an essay and explain to the grant giver or award why you think you deserve this money and what you're going to use it for. And if they find that you're going to, you either win the contest or they think that you're going to use the money for a good purpose, whatever the grant was intended for, then you'll get that money and then you don't have to pay it back. That's given money set aside and allotted.
I know what they are. My daughter applied for every single one she could.
Life skill, right?
Like you'd be surprised all the grants that are really out there. Like even if you want to start a small business, even, but it's hard to get approved. It's harder to get approved for them now, considering who the gatekeepers are. Unless you're writing an article about how you only have one leg and you're an illegal immigrant that's gay and autistic and socialist, then you're probably not going to get the grant.
Well, the question here is, should it be free for everyone? No, you'd have to control the subjects, the subject matter. You'd have to control
Well,
it and make it beneficial for all peoples. You know what I mean?
If it's not meritocratic, if it's not a system of winners and losers built on the fairness of a game, then it just needs to be done away with, like the free college education.
There's no such thing as free. Somebody's going to pay the bill, and that would be us, the taxpayer.
It's definitely not fair right now because you got at my daughter's school, she goes to Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute. It's basically second to MIT. They have such a high percentage of girls that are going for science, technology, engineering, STEM that have no interest in being there. You can tell they suck at it.
They're going their way through it.
They're going because they got all this extra money to do it. And
well, you have feminism to thank for that.
One of the realest wake-up moments I ever had in my life was long after the war, in my insane childhood. It was in the university, and I was amazed in an English class where it's like above an MLA standard that's espoused anyways, that at least half the class was reading at minimum or like the medium and 8th grade level, and then like a solid, quarter of the class was at a 5th or 6th grade reading level. And it was it derailed the whole class. And the wake up moment, they all got.
Why the fuck do you want to wheel? Stop fucking spinning.
They all got pushed to graduation. These people graduated. Now they're in your workforce.
Out there. I grew up in that era too.
Think about Crockett. Crockett as
terrorism
overblown. Good spin.
I'm gonna say yes to an extent. I think it is.
Yes.
They love fear mongering and people to tune into the news. The same way that every time it's going to snow, they say it's going to be 18 feet of snow and the biggest storm of the century. Give it a name.
Hold on. Are we going in generality or like America or like other places?
I would say so overblown that we're even paralyzed to the point where you get people like Roseanne saying, if you don't do this or else. It's like if you don't go along with this policy, this is going to happen by default.
Well, they're using it to control you. That's what they're doing. Or control the movement of money, military. In my opinion, it's a control factor.
I do
Thinking about control, ladies and gentlemen, we're not getting enough donations. We need some more donations, so we're going on the Forest Griff break.
Oh no!
Now's the perfect time. Grab some popcorn, stretch your legs, maybe grab a drink.
I get paid tomorrow.
I don't make the rules.
Good job.
I don't make the rules. I just enforce them. So
Good job.
I'll see you in a bit, ladies and gentlemen.
Step right up, spin the wheel, see what's next. Sneaky questions flying fast. No one knows which topic will last. One-on-one or chaos in the room. Every spin brings a brand new boom. Wheel of madness, let it roll. Twist and turn, take control. Mind on fire, sparks ignite. Every debate's a crazy fight. Who's ready? Who's brave? The wheel decides what you'll face. Strap in! Here it comes! Welcome to the Wheel of Step right up, spin the wheel, see what's next. Sneaky questions flying fast. No one knows which topic will last. One-on-one or chaos in the room. Every spin brings a brand new boom. Wheel of madness, let it roll. Twist and turn, take control. Mind on fire, sparks ignite. Every debate's a crazy fight. Who's ready? Who's brave? The wheel decides what you'll face. Strap in! Here it comes! Welcome to the wheel of Step right up, spin the wheel, see what's next. Sneaky questions flying fast. No one knows which topic will last. One-on-one or chaos in the room. Every spin brings a brand new boom. Wheel of madness, let it roll. Twist and turn, take control. Mind on fire, sparks ignite. Every debate's a crazy fight. Who's ready? Who's brave? The wheel decides what you'll face. Strap in! Here it comes! Welcome to the wheel of Step right up, spin the wheel, see what's next. Sneaky questions flying fast. No one knows which topic will last. One-on-one or chaos in the room. Every spin brings a brand new boom. Wheel of madness, let it roll. Twist and turn, take control. Mind on fire, sparks ignite. Every debate's a crazy fight. Who's ready? Who's brave? The wheel decides what you'll face. Strap in! Here it comes! Welcome to the wheel of
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Getting on to this topic, because this is a topic where, like I said, I think this is a necessity. I think war is a necessity. And what I mean by that is that a lot of people would say, oh, like world peace should be an objective. But then when you look at, like, for example, like PDFs or like serial killers or like fundamentalism or extremists and all this kind of shit, essentially what you're saying is, I would rather be oppressed by these individuals than actually fight a war against these individuals. You know what I mean? And see, that don't make no motherfucking sense. Because bear in mind, when you look at like Spartan culture and compare this to like modern day culture, you know, it was seen as an honorable death. Like there could be no better way to die in Spartan culture than dying on the battlefield, especially with your king. Do you know what I mean? And now we fast forward to modern day, and all the men are a bunch of fucking pussies. You know what I mean? You got some men who are afraid to say anything to their wives. And we once had Spartans? What the fuck is this shit? And another thing I'd point out is you look at a lot of the Western countries, and a familiar kind of like point that's brought up is look at the birth rates. You know, so many of these countries are below birth rates. And like, this is not just Western countries as well, by the way. This is China, this is Japan, this is South Korea. This is like all over the globe. All right. Except for one main country, which is Israel. Right. And a lot of people say, oh, it's because the Jays control the world and all this conspiracy theory nonsense. Right. It's because they're at war constantly. That the women in Israel can't do this shit off, I'm oppressed, when across the road in Gaza, there are bitches that are wearing like bin liners and have like masks over their face and all this kind of shit because they'd be beaten if they didn't. Do you know what I mean? So when we create an environment or we create a society where we hold world peace as a virtue, as a delusional, like this delusional kind of like essence of like world peace, and anybody whoever says that they're willing to fight for war, they're the enemy, they're the evil one. Congratulations, you have the world that you get from that. You have a bunch of pussy men, and eventually you're just basically waiting to be overtaken by a bunch of like tyrannical monsters, which is what you're starting to see in the likes of England, across Europe. You know what I mean? Where it's more of a priority not to be accused of Islamophobia than it is to protect their little girls from being raped. You know what I mean? That we shouldn't talk about this scandal of like the grooming gangs, all this kind of shit, because that would be Islamophobic. Like, that's where you get to in society. Versus Sparta, where it's like the most honorable thing you can do as a man is to die in the battlefield fighting for your country. Like, where did we go wrong? Where did the mentality get so fucked? Do you know what I mean? And this is why a lot of people are blackpilling and saying, oh, the West is fucked. We're fucked, boys. Ain't got no chance. Because when you compare these cultures and the mentality just behind them, conversations being had. We have, you know, Adonises who are saying, fucking give me death or give me liberty. Versus, if you stand against the government, you should be locked up. You know what I mean? Bunch of simps that want big daddy government to take care of them. We got Ernest Somerset saying, only is self-defense, yet only bullies wage war with the result inevitable or absolute imbeciles. So like this whole aspect of like the cum warriors of Papua New Guinea. We're just like, yeah, cool. That's their culture, that's their civilization. Who are we to say that's a bad civilization? You know what I mean? Or would you say, nah, that shit ain't happening? You know what I mean? This is where people say, it's like, oh, like, what right do you have and all shit? Because our culture is better. We produce better technology. Do you know what I mean? To be honest, economics can fund all wars. A fact isn't conspiracy, or economics can fund all. Okay, so before we had sophisticated economic systems, were there wars? Like when you say, oh, we're funding wars, when we're sending X amount billion all the shit to Ukraine or Israel or whatever, like that's not like we write them a blank check and say, go right ahead, boys, take a trip to the candy shop. No, like basically what that is like, we agreed to give you this money, but then you're immediately going to buy all this weaponry from us. So basically, they just send them the weaponry. Do you know what I mean? Like to say, oh, you know, we're going to rally the troops to make a bunch of people wealthy. That shit don't fly, you know? But to a kind of a deeper, kind of like more nuanced point, war is never just over one reason. It's always multifaceted, you know? Thanks, Derek. I had to rewind and listen to the very first part. No worries, my dude. No worries. But like I was saying, like in terms of like this aspect of war, it's like comparing kind of like what we see, like the simp epidemic, for example. Like just compare a Spartan versus a simp. It's like two different species. So then we have to ask ourselves the question, like, what the fuck happened? You know? It's like when a civil war happens, like who's funding that? Or when tribes in Africa go to war, who funds that? So I can tell you for a fact, man, when you look at like the individual soldiers on the battlefield, it's not like they're getting paid. Yeah, they make a salary and all that kind of shit, but it ain't worth it. You know? There has to be that, what would be like that higher goal or that higher purpose that you're like basically signing up to give your life away for. And when you fundamentally break down, especially what's going on in the Middle East, it's like, are we going to sit through, you know, basically our own destruction, or are we going to do something about it? Do you know what I mean? I don't want to be governed by Sharia law. And you can say, oh, well, just deport them, all this kind of shit, which, like, the whole government system and even the police, like, it's all been corrupted. It's all been infiltrated. So this whole thing of like voting yourself out of tyranny, that shit ain't gonna work. So the only way and even if you did do that, manage to somehow get your dudes in, get enough people to sway the votes on this kind of shit, and then get the deportations, you're already seeing with ICE, like they have the mandate from the people to remove all this, and then what do you see? You see the traitors. You see the people who have sold out their own country. They're kicking out fucking taillights out of like police cars, provoking the police and all this kind of shit, going up to ICE, trying to start something, blowing their whistles, trying to make things impossible for them and all this kind of shit. And that's with the mandate of the people. And that's in America, where things, quote, aren't that bad. Could you imagine what it'd be like in England? Could you imagine what it'd be like in France? So, like I said, even if we did get to the stage where France had their own French ICE, the British had the British ICE, and they were doing all this kind of same shit, it would still take a pretty long fucking time before the streets were cleaned. But even then, you still have to do something about the flow that's incoming into the country, and that flow is never going to stop because the core or like the origin of all this mass influx on this kind of shit is from the likes of Iran, is from the likes of Syria, is like from the likes of Lebanon, all this kind of shit. They're all coming in from the Middle East. So the only way to fix that is to get a new regime in Iran and possibly extend Iran all the way over to Turkey. Maybe make it some sort of a federal government or some shit like that. A lot of possibilities. I'm open to all. But that's, like I said, in terms of like stopping the Islamic extremism in Europe, like that has to be done. To which that war is necessary. You know what I mean? Gorgon Manga saying, would love to get into this, my friend. I'm stupid tired. Going to sleep. See you goofballs later. Take it easy. Take it easy. Peace out. Peace out. We got Organized Society. Welcome in, sir. Welcome in. Mango's flight is departing. I repeat, Mango's flight 1397 is departing from the chat. But like I was saying, in terms of like war being necessary, that's the one aspect that I don't think people look at it. They have this, you know, I guess you could say like this kind of like propaganda messaging that's been like drilled into their head where it's like, oh, world peace, world peace. I mean, like anytime there would be like a genie in a film, you know, one of the things they'd wish for would be world peace. Or if I became president, I'd enact world peace. What does that mean? Like if you enacted a worldwide government and had like the most tyrannical shit possible, you know what I mean? Think of like the Pharaoh in Egypt, but worse. Like everybody's a slave to this one tyrant doing all this kind of shit. Like technically, there'd be no more war. There'd be no. What movie was it? I think it's like Equilibrium. Like that's one of the main things. Like there's no more war. You know what I mean? But everybody's a robot. Everybody's controlled. You know what I mean? It's like the same thing that with the communists is like we need to seize the means of production. You ask any communist, what is your ultimate mean? What does seizing the means of production? Well, the means of production is the means to produce the product or the service, which is human labor. Also material, but mainly human labor. And your human labor is human labor. Ergo, they want to seize your labor. They want to turn you into a slave. See how we're able to kind of like drill down in terms of this is what they say, but this is what they mean. You know what I mean? They say they want world peace. What they actually want is total obedience, total slavery. And that's why I keep saying to y'all, are you willing to play the devil for a noble purpose? You know, food for thought. Welcome in, Shiva. Welcome in. And like this is what I'm trying to get across to a lot of people, where especially when you're looking at like academia with like postmodernism and all this kind of stuff, this whole kind of cultural relativism. Who are we? Who are we to say that anyone's culture is not as good or sophisticated as ours? And then, like I said, we talk about the Comores of Papua New Guinea. And then all of a sudden, like there'll be some sort of excuse found that, like, no, that culture wouldn't, you know, there'll be like a sideways way of getting around the point. Oh, that culture simply just wouldn't be efficient enough, or it just wouldn't work in Western context and all this kind of shit. But when it comes to okay, yeah, but like they're literally diddling kids. Like, should we do something about that? No, because again, like their cultures should be preserved like our culture or whatever. Meanwhile, the same people that are making that case would be the same people that says we need to get rid of Western culture. We need to get rid of all like these principles that we hold. You know? And it really begs the question. You know what I mean? Like, are these motherfuckers even American anymore? Like when they say, you know, all this like ludicrous shit about their history and like, oh, like, the founding fathers owned slaves and all this kind of shit. Like, what exactly are we trying to do here? So I could tell you if I was a Russian, or if I was Chinese, or Iranian, if I was in the Iranian regime, or any one of these regimes that are like clear enemies to the United States, that's exactly what I'd be doing, to try and undermine your country. I know I can't take over your country through the seas, or through the north or the south. Although, when you look at the way Donald Trump's been acting, especially around when he first got into office, when he was like, Mexico is an important issue, and fucking Canada is an important issue, even Greenland. We're taking over Greenland, boys. That goes to show you where the mentality is. We need to secure north and south, east and west. And now we're in the phase where it's like, okay, now America's starting to strike back. Venezuela, gone. Iran, in the midst of being gone. There's already people talking about Cuba. And as we all know, Marco Rubio speaks flawless Spanish. So, I'm just letting you know. You know what I mean? And like people will say, oh, how dare America? But when you look at these South America, like there's Hezbollah, there's all sorts in these South American countries. Asian triads and fucking, what are y'all doing down here, boys? What's going on down here? You know what I mean? And like that's why I'm basically saying to Americans, it's like we need that whole America. We need that back. Because if we're going to do this whole thing of like the moral grandstand and all this kind of shit, and we're going to listen to these like Islamic Republic quote unquote clerics talk to us about like we need to do what's right and all this kind of shit, when these are the motherfuckers that are like literally executing their own people. Like that's the most fucked up thing that I could possibly see transpire from this. Where it's like because I literally done the debate of Tom Petty or Preddy or whatever the fuck his name is being quote unquote executed on the streets of the United States of America. That Trump is executing, or ICE is executing protesters on the streets. Meanwhile, in Iran, anywhere between 35,000 and 100,000, like that's the range of numbers of people who were literally gunned down by their own government on the streets, trying to get some freedom. Do you know what I mean? Up is down, left is right. Like everything's fucking backwards. And like the same people that claim that like, you know, like this is such a fascist regime in America from Trump, and Trump is a fascist and all this kind of shit. Like they will claim that Preddy was executed on the streets of America. And then they'll defend the Iranian regime. Make it make sense. The only thing that like conclusion I can draw from this is that like these people, either knowingly or not, are literally against America. That this whole thing, like the stuff that was drilled into their heads at these colleges and all this kind of shit, like all this quote unquote activism that they're doing, that this is literally some sort of foreign influence that's trying to destabilize America and bring the West to its knees. And people will say, oh, well, why is that a bad thing, Teriak? Don't you know that the West had slaves at one point in time? And then again, I just flip it back and say, well, they're still slaves in modern day. Like sex trafficking, like that's slavery. And that's rampant all over the East. And who are we going to replace America with then? Do you think Russia would be more benevolent? Do you think maybe China would be more benevolent? They put in cameras every corner off your streets, cameras in front of your door, track every single movement. They have facial recognition. We do a whole a citizen score. So if you're a good citizen, we'll give you credits. If you're a bad citizen, we'll dock your credits. Do we really want to is that a much better world than America? You know what I mean? And like a lot of people, they when they make these comparisons, like they like to do it in an isolate, you know, where oh my god, can you believe it? America is so corrupt. America's so evil. America's so bad. Do we really want to get into the KGB and Russia and its history? Do we want to get into China? You know what I mean? Or even Iran. Like the fact that you have people saying like with the protests and all this kind of shit, you know, leave Iran alone. It's literally like the Britney video. You know what I mean? Leave Britney alone. Leave Khomeini alone. You know? And it's like I said, like a lot of people say it's suicidal empathy. But I disagree. I think it's selective empathy. Like the people will have empathy for the foreign invaders, the basically like anybody who's not a proud American or a proud Westerner or a nationalist. They have no empathy for them. Like their own fellow countrymen, they have zero empathy for. Shit, their own family, they've zero empathy for. When it comes to a complete stranger, it's like 110% empathy. You know what I mean? And that's not a mentality that your citizens can have and your borders remain intact. Do you know what I mean? I think it was Milton Friedman who said, you can either have social welfare and benefits and all this kind of shit, or you can have an open border. Either or. Do you know what I mean? What I mean by that is if America was, let's say, to go anarcho-capitalist, where all the police care about are like, you know, what I'd call is like the two main kind of the two main areas of crime, which is attacking someone, so that goes from like all the way to like basic or simple assault, all the way over to like first degree murder and all that kind of shit. And then the other aspect is stealing. You know what I mean? And that goes to like, you know, petty theft, all the way to things like rape and all that kind of shit. You know what I mean? Like, if that's all the cops care about, and you're actually keeping the streets clean, all this kind of shit, there's literally no reason to have like strict fucking what you call it, like strict border control and all this kind of shit. Because if you're in a narco capitalist system, there's literally no social benefits that these people can steal from and all this kind of shit. Like this Somali fraud is not a thing because you've gotten rid of all the social benefits and all the social programs. Basically, you're in an ultra capitalist system where business is booming, and like you basically any shop you walk into, you can get a job, you could make a decent living for yourself, and if you save your money correctly and make the right investments, you too one day could own your own shop and become a businessman. The American dream. You know what I mean? Now let's flip that across. If you want like a system where it's like heavily social benefits and all this kind of shit, you have to close the border. You have to have extremely tight border control. You know what I mean? It's like the idea of like high trust societies. In high trust societies, like you could leave your bike on the side of the road, come back a week later, and the bike will still be there. And if you don't have tightly controlled borders and you don't know who's in the country, all this kind of shit, you know what I mean? Your phones are getting nicked as you're walking down the street. Which brings us back to the question, is war ever really necessary? I would argue yes. Because how are we going to fix this bullshit system that we find ourselves in? A lot of people say, it's fuck Teriak. You just got to do you, enjoy the decline, crack a beer, just worry about you and your kids. Focus on building your own family and all this kind of shit. Motherfucker, so my kids can grow up in this shithole? Are we for realsies? Do you know what I mean? Like, an interesting way to think about it is, like, at what point are you supposed to, like, as a citizen, go against the cops? Do you know what I mean? Like, at what point can the citizens turn around and say, these cops or the state or the government, whatever way you want to phrase it, they clearly don't represent the will of the people anymore. Time to rise up. Like, at what point do we do that? And for anyone wondering, isn't that what the story of Jesus is about? And people forget, like, Jesus was literally rebelling against the religion of the day. All the Sadducees and Pharisees and shit. And he was saying, technically, yes, the words are correct, but the interpretation and what they're telling us to do is wrong. You know what I mean? And even Jesus started flipping some tables. You know what I mean? The fuck you doing banking in a fucking church for? You know what I mean? Is this not supposed to be a place of spirituality, reverence for the sacred, the divine? Why the fuck are we doing business here? You know what I mean? And this is what I keep trying to, like, point out to Americans, especially, like, trying to show them what's on the European front. You know, there's a lot of people think that, like, Europe is like one, like, solid thing. You know, that we're all quote unquote the same. It's all just white people, right? Even though there's vastly different languages, all this kind of shit, histories. But when you look at the way shit's playing out in Europe, you have Macron, who's like grandstanding against Putin, who's saying, we're all in, baby. Every last man, woman, and child. You know? Which is like the byproduct of having like this pseudo federal system like the European Union, where countries basically get screwed over. Like, the individual countries basically get screwed over. And then it basically turns into a thing of like where the top countries are paying for the bottom countries. You know what I mean? It makes no motherfucking sense. And then I'm supposed to die for this. I don't know what the fuck you call it. Like, this overgrown, bloated bureaucracy. I'm supposed to fight a bunch of Russians because of this shit. Ain't happening. You know what I mean? Fuck, I'd fight for the Russians before I would fight for the EU, man. You know? And like, that's why I'm kind of saying, like, even pointing out the likes of what's going on with Hungary. And I was going to say Czechoslovakia, but it's not called that anymore. It's Czechia and Slovakia. They're now two separate countries. Both of them are like, yeah, we're kind of like, we're hungry here. Like, why the fuck are we, you know, like, hearing threats from Ukraine saying Ukraine's going to cut off energy from Europe? Like, who the fuck do you think you are, Zelensky? You know what I mean? Like, you're not even in the EU. And you're now going to tell me that, like, my sons and daughters are going to have to fight for you because you refuse to take a deal with Putin? Because you started the war on behalf of Biden that no one wanted? You know what I mean? And like I'm saying, war is sometimes necessary. There are necessary conditions. But this shit happening in Ukraine, Russia, that ain't necessary. You know? But if we do look at the global landscape, we have America going after Venezuela. A lot of people would say, oh, yeah, because of the drugs or some shit like that. Trust me, bro. If you were interested in preventing the drugs going into America, Colombia would have been part of that list you hit. Apparently, they have no issue with the schnackta, with the white gold, as they say, because they wanted the black stuff. I'm not talking about black tar heroin. I'm talking about the oil. Because when you look at the military moves that happened, Trump sent the boys down, the platoon down. They got Maduro, you know what I mean, within like an hour or two. Easy clap. And it was a nice little test to see if the American systems can actually compete with the Chinese and the Russian hybrid systems, which is Russian missiles and like basic hardware and all this kind of shit, and Chinese software. And as we all seen, those systems didn't stand a chance. And who else has those systems? Iran. That's why after the Maduro thing, that whole envoy or platoon or whatever the fuck you want to call it immediately start heading east over to the Middle East straight after that. Which tells me that Venezuela was basically the insurance policy. That just in case we can't do what we need to do in Iran and they cut off the Strait of Hormuz, which is what they've done, we still have plenty of oil in Venezuela that we can tap. You know what I mean? And especially when you look at Putin and Trump. You know what I mean? I reckon Putin's probably realizing that the game is up. That a lot of the moves that Putin potentially had on the table, Trump's basically taken off from this, from basically all he's been doing. So by shoring up Mexico, that gave you plenty of territory to act just in case Venezuela kicked off and didn't go as planned, but that went as planned. And when you look at Mexico, Venezuela, and now it seems like Cuba as well, it seems like South America is going to be quelled in terms of like the socialist or communist ideologues that have gained so much power and all this kind of shit, and have also been buddying up to the likes of the Iran and China and all this kind of shit. All right. And then when you look at if Iran all of a sudden comes Western friendly, let's say we get the Shah back in, you know, get some sort of a constitutional monarchy going, you know, backed with a little bit of liberal democracy, as they say, you know, then that's about, what is it? I think $25 trillion resources that all these American companies then get access to. Ooh, baby. You know what I mean? And especially, like I said, you have the North with Canada and Greenland, where Trump was like, yeah, we'll take over Canada if it needs to be. Welcome to becoming the 51st state, motherfuckers. You know? And then even the stuff with Greenland. What country is north of Canada and Greenland? Russia. So that's the north of Russia. You already have Ukraine and Europe and the west of Russia. You have Iran and the Middle East that's south of Russia that America is currently taking over. Then that just leaves us with, you know, Canada. Oh, sorry, not Canada. China, the east of Russia. And if you look at what China's already been saying, China's like, how dare Iran strike North Korea? So even China is calling out Iran. So is the UAE. So is Saudi Arabia. So is Qatar. You know what I mean? So when you look at like Putin's potential moves, he could have been trying to look eye to eye with Canada and maybe say, oh, we could get a few things going on here. You know what I mean? Mexico, the same thing. Venezuela, clearly, they're already doing business with Venezuela. And, you know, Russia was able to get around sanctions by dealing business in Venezuela. Now that's all taken off the table. And then when he looks to the south, Iran's been taken off the table. So the only thing that Russia has is China. And another thing about China. Oh, one sec. Let me dig up this because this is a goldie. You know what I mean?
You are ready for the number?
Yes.
At one point, I projected under 400 million.
What?
500 million. Under 500 million.
Under 500 million.
Mm-hmm.
So you think that they have a very similar population to the United States and China?
Yes.
And when you look at the jabby jab, the whole COVID shit, like China said that there was 100,000. I think at the end, because when you looked at like that world statistics page, they were saying China only has like 10,000 dead or something crazy, like, or 1,000 or something like that. You know what I mean? Which everybody was like, ain't no fucking way that only 1,000 people died in China from the COVID. There was at least 1 million in America. You know? But China, it was only 1,000, bro. But I think eventually, like this was like a couple of years later after the event, China was like, oh yeah, no, it was like 100,000. All right. Which stuff that I've seen and I've heard, it's more like 100 million were wiped out in China. And if that is the case, given that it was, 400 million, 500 million, that would mean that Fauci is more of a tyrant or mass murderer than Mao. You know what I mean? And that's just comparing Chinese people or Asians killed. Do you know what I mean? But let's continue.
There's 1 billion people missing.
And this goes back to what we were saying in the beginning or earlier in the podcast with all of the fake IDs and all of this stuff being found out.
Yeah, there's possibly 1 billion people missing. It's not a demographic question, Danny. It's a mathematical question. Let me ask you. It takes a couple to have 2 children to replace themselves, right? Think about it.
Yes. Two children.
If every couple produces 2 children,
the population stinks level.
right? So, do you know how many children does every woman needs to have in her lifetime in order to triple its population in 50 years?
To triple its population in 50 years, you need to have what? Let me guess. I'm terrible at math.
I'll give you the answer because I asked AI. It's a crazy mathematical. If a country needs to triple or grow its population by 2.5 times, let's just say 2.5 times.
Okay.
Over a span of 50 years.
5 kids.
Each woman, you're right. Each woman needs to give birth on average between 4.5 to 5.5 children.
Wow.
Okay. Now China grew its population officially from 1950. That's when the CCP took over to control. Okay, China's population in 1950 was about 500 million. In the year 2000, 50 years later, China's population was about 1.27 billion. Okay, so it grew 2.5 times, right? From 500 million to 1.27 billion. That's 2.5 times over 50 years. Chinese women did not have, on average, have 5 children because of the one-child policy.
Yes.
Because of the Great Famine. Because of the Great Famine, tens of millions of people died. Because of Cultural Revolution. So China, from one political movement to another, and then to almost 4 decades of single-child policy, there's no way Chinese women had 5 kids.
Ain't no fucking way, boys and girls. You know what I mean? So I don't believe shit coming out of China. One sec. Can I get a year by year? One sec, boys and girls. Yearly population of China by year since 1950 to 2025. We're gonna hit Grok with one of these. Here's the yearly population of China from 1950 to 2025. Yeah, and like bear in mind, like they had the whole Cultural Revolution where they were just literally gunning down people and all this kind of shit. Right? And so on, with steady growth through the ages. Nah, motherfuckers. Yeah, so do it by decade. We're gonna learn today, boys. We're gonna learn today. Yeah, so in 10 years, rapid post-war recovery and high birth rates began the growth phase, right? And then 1960, we've already raised over 120 million. Growth accelerated despite challenges like the Great Leap Forward impacts in late 1950s, early 60s, right? Then it goes up another 140 million. Continued high fertility before family planning policies intensified. Then it goes up again another 170, 160. One-child policy introduced in the late 1970s. Growth still strong but slowing. Significant slowdown due to strict population controls. But it's saying it's significant slowdown, right? But in 10 years, again, it's gone up maybe, what was that, 150? About 150 million. So it's like the same growth, even though they've now done the one-child policy. And like that's not a significant slowdown. Then in 2000, census year population approached 1.3 billion. 2010 census year peak growth era ending. Census year population near its all-time high around 21, 22. As of estimates, still 1.4 billion. So it basically doubled from like 1950 to 1980 or 1990. So like that's basically what you're saying. In that 4-year span, it was like 2.5 times. Oh shit! 1 second. Let me scroll it in. So there's where you're seeing like 10-year difference, where it's like 120, 130. Oh, sorry, 150, maybe 160, 160-ish, and then it's like another 160-ish. That's like 150. You know what I mean? It's like every 10 years they're just adding 150 million onto the population. Now redo, do India now. All right. Right, 1950, India was 350 million. You know what I mean? 1 second, let me do this. So 1950 to India, it's doubled. You know what I mean? Independence area, high fertility improvements, fall rates set the stage for rapid growth. Strong population expansion amid economic and health improvements, continued high birth rates, family planning efforts begin but not limited impact. Population roughly doubled since 1950. Growth rate peaked at around 2.2, 2.3% annually. Sustained high growth, though slight slowdown from earlier decades. Crossing the 1 billion mark around this time, fertility rates starting to decline more noticeably. Significant urbanization and policy influence contribute to gradual deceleration. India nearing or surpassing China as the world's most populous nation around 22, 23. Media estimates as of 2026. 1.4 billion. Ongoing steady growth at 0.9% annually. Population continues to rise, projected to add around 12 to 13 million per year in this period, with estimates varying slightly by source, UN, all this kind of shit. Right? But when you look at it, it's still adding 12, 13 million a year. do that across 10 years, that's 120 to 130 million, which is the same thing that we're seeing with China. But with India, it's like it's a bit more like severe and shit like that. Do you know what I mean? It's not as like as uniform where it's 120, 130, 140, 130. You know what I mean? This it's like 120. Sorry, no, about 100. Then it goes almost 200. Then it goes 140. Then it goes 180. Then it goes 150 ish. No, so about 200 million again. Then it goes, and 2010, that's about another 200. And 2020 kind of slows down. It goes back to 150. You know what I mean? So it still has that maintenance as it's going into the 2020s, all this kind of shit. When you look at 2010 to 2020, it's significantly slowed down. Significantly. You know what I mean? You're talking about like 80 million maybe, and then comparing 2020 to 2025, it's actually gone down in population. You know what I mean? Like the Chinese have lost about 5 or 6 million people in that 5-year span. Whereas the Indians, it's gone up another 50 million. You know what I mean? So how we're like, just to show you in terms of the numbers, like the Indians one is more believable because it's not like this static, like uniform 120, 130, 140 kind of range each year. And then all of a sudden it just snaps off the face of the planet. Whereas when you look at India, India is still growing, even like from that 2020 to 2025. You know? It's like 50 million. Whereas China, there's 5 million people missing. You know? So this is what I'm saying in terms of like the birth rates and all this kind of shit. This is not a Western only thing. You know? This is affects vast other countries. You know? So in that light, put 2 plus 2 together and you get China is a lying motherfucker. And this is what I'm saying, man. I don't know how the populations or the general public are going to be able to cope with the headlines that are going to be fucking driven and all this kind of shit. You know, it'll be all like, oh, cataclysm in China, you know, half the population wiped out by this cataclysmic event. All this kind of shit. And I'll be like, no, the motherfuckers were lying about the overinflating their numbers in the population. And then also Fauci's jabby jab thing, the whole COVID thing, one could make the argument that was used as a bioweapon. You know, because like when you look at the way the Chinese system is set up, like the local governments are incentivized to overinflate their population. Why? Because then they get more government funding. Remember, it's communism. The more mouths you have to feed, the more funding you get. Do you know what I mean? And this is when they were talking about like the whole fake ID scan, like literally hundreds of millions of fake IDs of people who don't exist were found and discovered and all this kind of shit. You know? And when you do the maths, like this bitch did, you're like, at best, China's at 500 million. At best. And that's before you start to talk about the COVID shit and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So this is why when people say our greatest threat is China, all this kind of shit, it's like, don't worry, guys. China's already been taken care of. All this shit with Venezuela and Iran, all this kind of shit. That's all were just plays build up to ultimately what we have now. Might need to have to talk to Turkey. There might be a few things. I think a few things that we might need to do in Turkey, but fundamentally they seem as though they're playing ball as well. They've also said like, oh, what Iran's doing is bad and terrible, all this kind of shit. So China's in line, Turkey's in line, and now I think Putin and Trump are talking about a possible ceasefire and all this kind of shit. You know what I mean? So once we add all these things into the equation, the reason why Russia is not the big threat that everyone makes it out to be is when you look at Israel, plenty of Israelis have Russian dual citizenship. And when you look at the whole shit with what went down at that music festival, that October 7th, one could make the argument that was basically Russian Israelis kind of saying, why the fuck did we give guns to Ukraine? And that was their whole thing and all that kind of shit. But now that you look at the situation play out and the fact that these Russian Israelis could be like, maybe a regime change in Iran, so long as we get the right deal from Mother Russia, things could be okay. Russia is more a cyber threat? Potentially, but the main case that like is made with Russia is like why are we trying to like rub salt in the wound with Russia? You know? Like why can't we like go about it in a certain way where we seduce the Russians, to kind of bolster some sort of relationship between, because if Russia and America actually get along and see eye to eye, bro, you know what I mean? There's potential there for something great. I remind people, like, when you talk about like the Russian czars, like, what is a czar? Where did they get that word czar from? It comes from Caesar. Ain't that something, ladies and gentlemen? Like, could you imagine some sort of federation that restored Rome? Call me crazy, but a man can dream, can't he? A man can dream. So if that's what's really on the cards here with all this war and all this kind of shit, and let's say part of the whole thing of liberating Iran is that like America basically gets like great deals and all this kind of shit. And let's say, for whatever reason, that all oil transactions and sales must be done in Bitcoin. Well, and America just so happened to have this brand spanking new Bitcoin reserve fund. Well, what would that do to the price of Bitcoin? Could go very high. And the fact that you're already getting a good deal on the natural resource in Iran, maybe you buy some more Bitcoin or whatever. I wouldn't be surprised if after all is said and done, that America basically pays off their debt. And then when you look at sorting out South America, sorting out the Middle East, bringing peace with Russia, and wiping out the U.S. national debt, dare I say, Donald Trump might go down as one of the greatest presidents in U.S. history. Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be a beautiful ending to this complete shit show that we find ourselves in, ladies and gentlemen? A man can dream. A man can dream. As Creative Witch says as well, Rome wasn't built in a day. I know. And what was the quote from Marcus Aurelius? There was once a dream that was Rome, and that dream shall be realized. Creative saying, I think that's wishful thinking. A man can dream, though, Creative. A man can dream, Because, like, fundamentally, when you look at Trump as, like, a shrewd businessman as he is, I'm, like, thinking, like, why the fuck is he, like, going anywhere near Iran as, like selling himself as like the no wars president? And then I look at Iran having $23 trillion of natural resources. And then I look at the Bitcoin strategic reserve and then I look at America's debt, well, there's only one fucking way America can pay off that debt. You know, setting himself up for the future. But he already. This is the thing, creative. Like the dude is so wealthy. Like when you have billions upon billions. Like let's say you have $5 billion. You know what I mean? Like, how much more money can you get? Like, your standard of living is not going to increase whatsoever when you're a multi-billionaire. Like, fuck being a multi-millionaire, a multi-billionaire. You know what I mean? It gets to the stage where it's like, I can have anything I want. I could buy a fucking island. I could buy this. I could do this. I could go anywhere I want. You know what I mean? So if this was all just like if he was doing the whole Nancy Pelosi thing, where it's like I'm going to say that I'm giving my life for the people, but realistically, I'm just putting myself in a good position and making sure that my like I'm earning 200 grand a year, but I'm somehow worth $200 million, like that kind of thing. You know what I mean? I don't get that of Trump. Like I think Trump is like people say that Trump is a narcissist, and one thing narcissists care about is their reputation. Like, how are they remembered by other people? You know what I mean? And when you look at Trump, one of the things that would undisputedly put him as like one of the best presidents ever to play the game, like the LeBron James or Michael Jordan of presidency, would be if somehow you were able to wipe out that U.S. national debt. And like I said, when you look at Venezuela with the oil, all this kind of shit, the fact they went to Iran, and that like the oil price spiked up to like over 100, and Iran was saying it's going to be 200, motherfuckers. And then literally the very next day, somehow the price of oil went down to $80. You know what I mean? That's where I'm like, oh, I see it. I see what you're doing now. You're going to extract out all those natural resources, get all those deals in place, future-proof it, and turn Iran into a Western-friendly country. And then you're going to use the contracts of that to then take out a loan, buy a shit ton of Bitcoin, and then force the Middle East to take only take sales in Bitcoin, which means all the fiat or all the money that was being paid for the Bitcoin is now has to be thrown into Bitcoin first, which then pumps all that oil money directly. Well, one could say it forces the oil money into the Bitcoin. Either way, all of a sudden you inject the Bitcoin market with the whole fucking money in the oil market, and then the price fucking spikes up. And now your Bitcoin reserve is sitting at about whatever amount of Bitcoin you have is sitting like the total value of it is basically sitting around in and around 30 to 40 trillion dollars. And you just sit on it and wait because the value is just going to increase, you know? And it's like we could pay off our debt anytime we want, baby. The only thing that makes sense to me, especially on the global scale, but the thing about geopolitics and the global scale is that there's just so many actors at play that there's bound to be another area that you haven't foreseen or you haven't gone about. His family have made a lot of money the last year. Trump wants to be on top. He wants something for after his presidency ends. No, I disagree. Like I'd say Nancy Pelosi has that mentality. I'd say Keir Starmer has that mentality. Like any of these people that like were not businessmen before they went into politics, or like billionaires before they went into politics. Because like when we hear a number like, oh, Trump got 20 million last year, it's like, oh shit, that's a lot of money. That's like toilet paper for the likes of Trump. He was a multi-billionaire. Fuck. Musk is a trillionaire. Do you know what I mean? So I understand the case you're making, creative, because like a lot of politicians have that mentality. They're like, I'm gonna get this dude off or whatever. Like the whole Keir Starmer thing, the scandal that came out with him, where it's like he's literally getting like the disgusting people off grape charges and all this kind of shit because he's getting paid in the back end to get that shit done. Do you know what I mean? Well, here's a knob. Facts. facts. One sec.
My fucking man!
Shout out to you, Creative Witch. But when you're like in that kind of mentality where like, you know, let's say earning 100 grand a year is a lot of money to you. You know what I mean? Taking a payment for like 200 grand, 300 grand, like that makes sense. But if you're a multi-billionaire or trillionaire, like it's like the Elon Musk, right? Like fuck you, go fuck yourself. You can't control me with money. I'm a fucking billionaire. You know what I mean? But you are right in terms of he's looking for something after his presidency. You know what I mean? And to me, that is that legacy. That's that aspect of like actually being the undisputed greatest president ever to have been president of the United States. And one thing that would get that done would be wiping out the US national debt. If he can get it done. And I would like to remind you all, I wrote this prediction down on my X. So October last year, October 5th, 2025, I wrote and pinned on my profile 3 predictions I can't get out of my head. So going to post them here. Trump eliminates the US national debt. America becomes Christian nationalist. Hercules kills Thor and Marvel. I keep trying to tell you, it's like I have these dreams, and like they're weird dreams. It's like I don't know, like my head just or my mind just goes to a weird place. Like I even could just be not necessarily a dream, but I'm just like sitting here, just like thinking, and then all of a sudden, like I just go to some. It's like the one sec. Like this sounds so fucked up, but bear with me. Like it'd basically be like something like this, right? This is where like me thinking about something, like I'm thinking about Trump and the Middle East or America and the Middle East, all this kind of shit. And like next thing you know, like the image in my head, it just turns like this. You know what I mean? And then boom, I'm sitting in the Middle East and I'm like hearing a fucking conversation being had or some shit like that. It's like the trippiest shit I've ever seen in my entire life. And when I had one of them, I was basically seeing this type of shit where America's Christian nationalist, US debt's wiped out, all this kind of crazy shit. You know what I mean? But hey, call me crazy. It is what it is. I sometimes agree with something Trump does. Then I hear him talking about it and I think, what the fuck? Oh, bro, like he died like a dog. You know what I mean? It's like, why are they letting this dude say this shit? Do you know what I mean? It's hilarious when you like just oppose it against Barack Obama when he says, like, you know, Saddam Hussein taken out by the military today. This is a great mission for the United States of America. May God bless America. God bless our troops. All that kind of shit, right? Versus Trump, where he's like, I don't get the credit, but I never do. But he died like a dog. Also, I'm going to write a book. It's going to be a best-selling book. You know what I mean? And you're like, oh my God. Sometimes you just got to laugh with it. You know what I mean? You think them becoming Christian nationalists is a good thing? No. Like, I think this is a bad thing in terms of, well, it could go either way. You know what I mean? Because like, there's one way to describe Christian nationalism, which is a theocracy. The other way of describing it has been this way of, well, we're just going to vote in Christians who have like strong Christian ethics, and that's how we're going to get about it. You know what I mean? But like the dangerous thing about like America becoming Christian national is all of a sudden, you know, in 20, 30 years time, Nala Ray or one of these goofy bitches could do a whole Joan of Arc thing. And next thing you know, America is invading England over some bullshit because their quote unquote leader is saying that God is telling them to do it or some shit like that. You know what I mean? That's why I'm saying like America becoming a Christian nationalist is not necessarily a good thing. Like a lot of people think, oh, if only America was become Christian nationalist. And then to those same people, I say, well, Northern Ireland was Christian nationalist. That was Christians killing Christians. So if you think that everything's all of a sudden just going to, you know, in the click of a finger, as soon as we announce that we're Christian nationalists, that all our problems are going to go away, you are living in a delusion. You know what I mean? Glad we agree. Hey, my man. I've had friends targeted by the evangelical Christians. There was a satanic panic. Oh my God. Fy favore. You know? But that's why I say it's like we need to focus the conversation on that main element. I think I'm going to use the wrong words here, but we need to focus on like that core element that I know that like Christians like have that kind of like have this belief in terms of like what we mentioned in terms of like the logos, like that fundamental law governing the change across the universe. That is to say, if everything in the universe is in motion, there must be a power source to all this motion. That power source is God. That's one aspect. Now that can get bastardized and turned into Zeus, or get turned into you know, some BG looking motherfucker flying on a cloud shooting down lightning bolts to people who are, you know, sinning or whatever the fuck. You know what I mean? The former part of that is something that like I've found in Orthodox Christianity, Neoplatonism, fucking Buddhism, Hinduism, like all major religions have that aspect. But then, like I said, with you also have the evangelical types who literally think that God is Zeus, some Zeus type character who will literally throw down a lightning bolt and smite you. You know what I mean? Trying to get their businesses shut. Yep. Like that's the whole like cancel culture thing. And ain't it interesting that all of a sudden cancel culture ain't such a big issue for people anymore? I thought we were like, this is bullshit that just because of my beliefs, you're going to make sure I don't earn a single penny anymore. You know? I thought the whole cancel culture thing was bullshit. You know? People think all witches are crazy just because a small few are. What was the movie? Was it Hocus Pocus? Yeah, Hocus Pocus. That's what done you in. These are the bitches that done you in. That's whose fault it is, creative. This was a propaganda film just to talk shit about the witches. If it wasn't for these three bitches, you know what I mean? They might have had some time with the witches. But folks, I gotta go. We didn't hit the super chat goal. Like I said, we got a grift. We got to make sure we pay attention to the grift. Okay, the goal ended, I think, 10 minutes ago. Okay, creative distracted me with her witch powers. You know, haven't seen the new one, not my style. Hey, it is what it is. But let me see who's live. Where are we going? Is there any place to go? No, can't see it. But fuck, man, I think can we do PBD podcasts? No, it won't let me do PBD podcast. It is what it is, so fuck it. It is what it is. It is what it is. Folks, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. It is what it is. I'll see you tomorrow. And as Creative Witch says, have a damn good day, folks.
That was a damn good show. For more damn good shows, click the video over there or the link in the description box. Oh, you getting pumped up. Don't forget to red pill the morons in the comment section below. This is all BS. It's all a bunch of lies for votes. Yeah.